Welcome in. I assume a pretty excited crowd. Ole Miss knocks off Georgia 28-10 tonight. It is tonight, 6:20 p.m. As this thing as wrapping up. Ole Miss dominates the game. They spot Georgia 7 there in the first drive. We'll talk about that. Austin Simmons kind of settling these things down, and then the Ole Miss defense takes over, dominates the Bulldog. The pass rush, at least for tonight, worth every penny. Ole Miss moves to 8-2 on the season. They have Florida, they have Mississippi State left, and they are firmly back in the college football playoff rankings with a huge win over the number 3 Bulldogs. So we'll discuss that coming up in a second. Jeffrey Wright and Tyler Siskey already on the horn on the Campbell Clinic hotline here with us to do that as we break down all the parts of Ole Miss coming back from that early adversity. And like I said, dominating a game against a Georgia team that a year ago this thing is going into motion as the Georgia Bulldogs dominate Ole Miss in Athens. And Lane said that was one of the reasons why they put this roster together, one of the main ways that they knew they were not good enough last season. And it wasn't just a win, but it was a win in all the ways they tried to improve with really a dominating performance there from that defensive front for Ole Miss. They were stifling on defense, and they got this thing done. And they now get a week off prior to a trip to Gainesville. Florida gets a butt kicking at the hands of Texas today, and then finishing up in Oxford on Black Friday against Mississippi State. But before we get into all that, tell you about Realtree. Those guys are the reason we are here every single week. Appreciate everybody at Realtree and Realtree.com. You can use code MPW15 at Realtree.com to get 15% off because Realtree Camo is proud to support Ole Miss football and Rebel Athletics. Fall's a special time of the year, not just for football fans, but also for those who love the outdoors. So whether you're cheering for the stands or gearing up for hunting season, all about tradition, family, friends, and unforgettable moments. They bring the same passion, delivering the best-in-class camo products, including the all-new, all-purpose hunting pattern, Realtree APX, Realtree Legacy, some of the popular old-school patterns. Check out Realtree.com for all your camo apparel needs. And again, MPW15 for 15% off at Realtree.com. You guys back in the screen there. Jeffrey doing something in the kitchen. Go ahead, do what you need to do. But welcome in, Tyler. As I mentioned, first credit to you. You said a week ago Ole Miss was going to beat Georgia. They didn't just beat the Bulldogs. We'll get into all the stats in a second, but they beat them handedly. I'll let you kick this thing off here. As I said, maybe in some ways the exact way that if you're Ole Miss, when you put this roster together, what you wanted to see because they absolutely dominated Georgia's offense tonight.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, that was the big thing with me. There is a recipe to beat Georgia, right? And this year, right, and it's not as recipe as of years past. It's this year specifically, and you got to make them drive the field. You look, Georgia scores 10 points, 7 of their 10. Their only touchdown drive came on a 21-yard drive after the first interception. So, first half they went touchdown, punt, 4 punts. They kick a field goal and then turnovers the rest of the game. So they forced them to drive the field. And the thing that I think kind of led me to that, I knew that they had an advantage. I have to be dead straight honest with you. I had no idea it was that big of an advantage. But I knew if they could force Georgia into 3rd and 6+, like Georgia's like one of the worst teams. Maybe I can't remember the number, but they're well into the hundreds in 3rd medium, and because they try to throw it and they can't. And I knew that Ole Miss could create pressure on him, but they didn't create pressure. Left tackle hasn't blocked one yet. So I don't know who's in the chat that paid him. Y'all owe his ass a bonus. He single-handedly closed the game. He was like Mariano Rivera coming off the freaking back end. He closed the game off. They couldn't stop him.
One of the thing here is where, like I said, there's a ton to get to, but we know Jackson Dart shows a ton of toughness, gets hurt, second play of the game, goes into the locker room, comes back out, goes back in. Ole Miss wins the game where, in some ways, from a toughness standpoint and just kind of gritting it out, it's almost kind of a Jackson Dart legacy game. He's already got the record for most wins in Ole Miss history as far as a starting quarterback, and yet his backup, Austin Simmons, the one touchdown drive of the game, it was scored by him. Look, Ole Miss was going to be that good defensively tonight no matter what, but a lot of stuff could happen differently there. You get spun around, you go down 7-0 quickly. Simmons made 4 or 5 really big throws on that drive, and I thought calmed everything back down. So even when you went to Dart right there, I mean, it was just one drive, but Austin Simmons deserves a lot of credit tonight.
I got it circled over here. I wrote down all the stuff on the drives today. I wrote everything down. That was the biggest drive of the game. And I told some of my buddies, I was like, there may be something to this. I don't have a lot of experience in this, but the guy's been a relief pitcher for a year. And the mentality of just being ready coming in the game and doing what he did, I don't know if he has that big of a nuts or he just doesn't know any better. You know what I mean? Like there was one throw that probably should have been picked. He kind of fit on third down. He kind of fit one in there that probably should have been picked, but that you probably don't want him to throw, but it all worked out. Nobody's going to really say anything. But yeah, he's a talented kid, man. A kid can spin it. He can spin it. So that was the best. That was the biggest drive of the game. That thing started going downhill early. You go 3 and out. Your quarterback goes in the locker room. They turn around and score. The momentum that was able to really gain back the momentum. And I don't think Georgia ever recovered. In the second half, I thought Georgia started getting a little bit more balanced, and they started to get some things going in the start of the third quarter. And they were using Ole Miss's aggressiveness against them to kind of get them to slow down and stop overplaying. Ole Miss had a lot of success early in the game on defense being a little bit too aggressive, particularly in the perimeter. And that kind of slowed them down, and they had those 2 drives there. But when that last one ended with a fumble that Walter Nolan recovered, after that it was checkmate.
Jeffrey, just on any of this, kind of some opening thoughts, and then I'll get some super chats, and we'll continue on.
I mean, the reality is they gave him 7 points, and other than that, this game was an ass kicking. I mean, Ole Miss wins every single quarter. They win total yardage, yards per play. They won the sack differential. They won the tackle for loss differential. They won the turnover margin, points off turnovers. This was as thorough of a beating as you could probably give to a Georgia team. And, was I surprised Ole Miss won the game? No, I didn't pick it. But, was I surprised? No, because all week I kept telling you, man, all this money is coming in on Georgia, and they're not moving this line. And that meant that there were several people that with deep pockets that they liked.
Not right now.
Not right now. That liked Ole Miss. And, I don't know what there is to say other than this was an ass kicking.
Tell her to come by and say hello, Chase. Hey, it's Doug.
Bye.
Everybody's rushing the field.
It's fine. Everybody's happy tonight. Whatever. It's all right.
Nobody knows when to rush the field. Let them roll. Let's go. Let's let everybody.
I think that's the only negative from tonight. That was poor form rushing the field. That was really the only mistake.
Yeah, it's what we were talking about before the thing. You were waiting for a "We Are Ole Miss" moment. It was rushing the field with 16 seconds left. It was nothing else as you're going through this. Let's go through some super chats real quick. PTG Brandon, thanks you as always. You're always here with us. No, Siski, appreciate you as well. He says LFG Flippin' Reb says game ball Austin Simmons. You not win that game without him coming in and playing like he did. No, stop. All y'all out now. No, seriously, not right now. Go. No, go. I'm going to get close. Okay, stop. Sorry.
Hey, it's a good time for the Rage Man Clinic. Man Clinic station. Let's go.
It is.
Hey, Chase having a little man clinic. Let's go, Chase. Yeah. Let's go, Chase.
I'm a little extra testosterone, Siski. It is what it is. Said you not win that game coming in. Yeah.
You put down those boneless wings. Hey, no more seltzers for you, sir. It's Diet Miller time. Let's go, sir.
Let's see what we got. Sammy, congratulations, everyone. Congratulations to my OGC brothers and sisters. Today isn't happening without you. Talking about the Grove Collective, obviously. Let's see. Joe saying, cheers from London, celebrating with some Yamakaze single malt. That's not what Siski would be having there in front of him. Not some Yamakaze single malt here this morning or this afternoon. It says, what about the rest of you? Yeah, what are you guys celebrating with? What are you drinking? Cam says, would love to hear the Siski assessment of what they've done to dart at the half to get him ready. When he goes to the locker room, Siski, what we doing to Jackson?
I just went in there and just said, "How you feel? You feel good? Okay. All right, let's roll out. Let's go. Let's go try
Yeah.
this out."
For further evaluations.
Yeah,
They just wanted to take a closer look.
Anytime you got to leave the actual sideline tent to go to the locker room, that just means that he just needs a little, hey, talk to me. I know I couldn't hear you with the crowd noise. I need to hear. What did you say? Okay, you can go back in. We're good.
Right. So it's not that there are certain remedies on the sideline and there aren't others.
No. It's just, need to stretch it out a little bit. Need a little walk. Probably need to walk down the tunnel a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Because I literally everybody asked, like, my whole text message chain's going off. I go, Jackson got a shot, so as soon as he can't feel the pain anymore, he's going to go back in, and that's what looked like it happened to me.
Yeah, he probably. I think, to be honest with you, I think he probably went in a drive too early.
I agree with that.
That's not an instant gratification. You need a little bit of time, not a lot, just a little bit. And he was really he was not following through on his throws. It was just a matter of time until he sailed something. Now after that, it started. I think the longer the game went on, he felt it loosened up a little bit on him a little bit. You know what I mean? And the tape job took effect. It was great. By the way, hey, shout out, hey, game diet Miller to Pat Jernigan. Nice tape job. I mean, that was looked really effective following through later on. And about the next drive, all of a sudden that next drive, that tape job that he gave him after that first drive he came in, he started following through a little bit, and it was good. It was good.
You think he might have reapplied the tape?
Maybe, yeah, maybe. It could have been reapplied orally. No diddy.
Yeah.
At halftime.
Yeah. So let me ask it like this: would he, because of that awesome tape job, would he have been feeling it even there at the end? Does that tape start wearing off at some point, or does it stay pretty solid that whole 3.5 hours?
Usually, if you get a really good tape job, when you come off the field for pregame, okay, and you get a really good tape job, then it lasts. It will not last the whole game, but it'll get you through the first half, and you usually have to reapply the tape at halftime. And so, considering it was probably a 40 minutes, I guess, between difference of normal, I don't know. I'm imagining they probably instead of putting the tape directly on the skin, they provided the tape in other areas to get him through the second half.
Well, I mean, you got to think of it this way: they're off next week. At halftime, it probably makes sense to make sure that you get just go ahead with that 20 minutes you get at halftime. Just tape it up again and just be ready to go because you got next week off anyway.
So this was on the board a little bit, so I'll go ahead and knock this out at the beginning. We'll begin some stats and get a little deeper into the game and what's to come afterward. But there's no doubt you do go back to Dart once he has to go back in, right? I mean, it's one of those deals. Like Simmons goes and slings it down the field. He looks awesome. Jackson comes back out. Neil and I were sitting in the press box. We both said, "Hey, you got to dance with the one that brought you." But Tyler over here looking like he might have stuck with 13.
Boy, it would have been a tough decision. Look, I mean, the way 13 looked, and then the way that Dart looked when that first drive, I imagine he had one more drive because it was going to be, if he could not follow through on throws, you were going to have to take him out. You know what I mean? Because when you can't do that, when you're a back foot thrower, you're going to sell the ball. And you can't sell the ball because behind every curl there's a corner. You just can't do it. And it would have been tough. I have to admit. I said I didn't think you could at that point in time. He would have had to show me. I'll probably at least let the tape job settle in a little bit and then make my decision. I think.
So you would have given Simmons one more series. See, I was thinking go the other way where you let Dart almost prove it one way or the other to you, and then if he can't do it, then okay, I'll flip back.
Yeah, I would have probably gone one more series and then made a decision. But, I mean, that's why he gets paid $9 million and I'm drinking Diet Miller's talking to you.
So, it's kind of funny because I did tweet out, because I like Tyler. When you got a guy that can't plant, that ball's just going to it's going to sail all night. I mean, I tweeted out, after that first drive, there was a Tua Hurts situation developing. Because, Ole Miss got a left-handed quarterback, wears 13. the eye black. It looks like he's cosplaying sometimes as Tua Tagovailoa. I did also think, though, like, okay, you get the touchdown drive. Are you a little worried, like, putting it back out there is playing with fire?
I mean, not the way. I mean, like, he did not look. I'm being serious about the baseball thing now. This guy, that's what I was texting some buddies, and I was like look, I don't know if he's got that big of nuts, or is he just ignorant to the pressure because he's chill. But like, that was that's a big moment for that kid. I guess young man. That's a big moment. Now that's not everybody. It's not a video game. You know what I mean? And it's everybody. Your guy goes down in college football or Madden, and your guy just pops in there, and he goes and he's as good as what his stats are. That's not how it works. I mean, this guy's got thrown in the biggest moment of his career, like that, in front of the largest crowd in the history of the stadium, and arguably the biggest game. Not arguably, I think it's the biggest game in school history. I mean, in modern history, and since anybody
because of the playoff and the situation, there's no doubt this is bigger than the Bama wins.
Yeah,
so
to me,
I agree with everything you said, but like, I'm taking a look at, like, even Tua, who comes back and wins that game. Like, remember, Tua had like a bad interception early. Like, I was wondering, like, were they going to try to, like, how were they going to juggle that? Because I'm with you, all that's true, but I also think at some point there was going to be a freshman mistake, and Kirby was going to get him, and they navigated that situation perfectly.
Hey, I want to say this too. I want to say this. I know we're talking about Jackson and baby Tua, and we're talking about the defense. Another unbelievable protection performance by the offensive line.
Oh, could not agree more. That's what I told my wife. First thing, she's like, how do they pull that off? I go, they blocked their asses off.
And they've done it. I mean, that's 3 weeks in a row without the same five, and they just keep rotating different guys in, and it's all over the place. And I mean, it was pretty stellar.
57 still pisses me off, but he got in the way enough tonight.
I'll say one more thing on Simmons is I've gotten to know the kid okay because of baseball, because we obviously get a lot more access for baseball and we're around him a lot, and he was out there last year. You look, I was wondering about that, and I have a question as I get done talking regarding that. But him going in that situation is, like you said, it's not a video game. It's human, and you're dealing with everything at one time, and it's thrown at you. And while you're one play away, you're not necessarily expecting it at any moment. That kid, though, is maybe the most confident kid I've ever covered. And I mean, in 20 years of baseball, he just doesn't think he can do anything but excel at everything he does. I mean, you talk to him and you go, because for some people, I think he almost even kind of comes off arrogant or brash or whatever, and it kind of unseats him a little bit. But I kind of look at it and go, hey, if I'm in a huddle, though, that's probably the guy I want in there with me. I mean, I've been very impressed by that guy's mindset from day one, and he's a guy who, look, there's a lot of kids that are his age that are still in high school, Tyler. I mean, he showed up at 17 years old.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is, like, so he was, I think I've said it on some show at some point in time over the last year and a half, 2 years. He was my favorite quarterback in the 24 class. All right. And then when he, because you have to do all the work ahead of time. I mean, the arm talent this kid has is ridiculous. And then he reclassified or whatever. I thought that was a bold move, but the kid is so uberly talented. I'm not really a big fan of left-handed quarterbacks, just from an accuracy standpoint. And then you get a kid like this. I don't know if I've seen he's probably top 5 arm talent that I've ever seen. Now, that's one thing, right? To have the arm talent, but you got to have the rest of it. And the kid seems to, he's got my respect. Hey, tip of the cap. So that was big nuts right there. I don't think I'm sure a lot of fans do understand. That's big nuts right there. That's impressive. That gives me hope. You know what I mean? And when you got a guy like that, and you can start building around him, and now he's going out and he's had this moment. Now, let's talk big picture right here just for 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
We all know what's coming at the end of this year, whenever the end of this year comes. There's going to have to be a massive burn down and rebuild. It's a hell of a lot easier to sell in the portal what you got at quarterback when you got to go get some weapons and pieces around him, when they can look and see what the kid did when he comes in there and plays, and they're like, oh shit, yeah. Or if I hit the real reset button and I want to go to young 5-star wide receivers and I got this young quarterback, and it's a big recruiting tool, man. And you got a something. If you got a quarterback, you got something to build around. You give yourself a chance regardless of how much you got to rebuild. Oh, and by the way, if I don't know who it is. I will, but whoever is the actual person, I'm assuming it's Walker. He's not, probably doesn't do this, but whoever the person in charge of the collective, they should be sent just freaking having a 48-hour, 2-week call-a-thon on the collective.
Yeah.
So
I think though, something I'm curious to watch though is I'm wondering if the building through the portal in the way that Lane's been able to do it, where you can really get great talent, I'm wondering if that's starting to dry up a little bit because you've lost all the extra COVID. Like, we're getting to the point now where you're at the lack of COVID eligibility. You're at, everybody's had the transfer rule in play and whatnot. Like, I wonder if we're getting to the point where most of the guys that are in the portal are in there for a reason, rather than like being able to build it with the best quality kids that you can. Like, I wonder if it's going to get harder and harder to do it that way.
There's just different levels of it, right? So if you got the money, the top end guys are going to cost money, right? You got to go pay them. But after that, there's not, because
the middle's going to fall off, haves and have-nots.
Yes, and but look, I think they've been doing a good job in high school recruiting for the last 2 cycles anyway.
Look, okay, a couple things real quick, and then we're going to get off Austin, even though he deserves a ton of credit here tonight. What is it about being left-handed do you feel like affects accuracy for him? And then, as somebody says, you would think almost some of the knock was that protections and rollouts and all change and opposite because of him.
Yeah, protections are fine. The protection, that's now you obviously, like, as a play caller, and Lane moved him to his left. You want to be able to move, that's on the play caller though. That's not a big deal. You practice them both ways during the week anyway, so it's not that part's not a bad deal. It's the motion, right? It's a lot of the left-handed guys do a lot of the drop ball stuff. Trying to shorten up a left-hander's motion is very difficult. But man, he's got it. He gets it out of there. He can rip it. Like, if you look at Tua and then look at him, look at their motion compared to like an old school Michael Vick. You know what I'm saying? If you look at, the guys that can shorten their motion up and throw from here, they are usually the most. Steve Youngs. You start thinking about all the left-handed guys around there. A lot of the guys that are mostly inaccurate guys are guys that their first motion is they drop the ball. And so when you create that whip motion, it creates a funky tail on the ball. It's like the guy who throws a natural 2-seamer all the time. It just creates, the ball just always goes away, always goes off to their left, to the arm side.
Couple different super chats coming in here.
I'm also fine with this take because lefties can't play catcher and lefties can't play middle infield, and I think those are the best quarterbacks.
Joe says, Siski, if he brings some scotch on his next trip home, will you try it, or do you just prefer the lager? Happy to bring either. He's coming from across the pond.
Oh, from across the pond? Oh, your boy will try anything. I'm not. I'm equal opportunity. I'm just talking about what I'm just rolling with the Diet Millers. But yes, I'm an equal opportunity. It's not that I don't like it. It's just I turn into a gremlin when I start hitting the hard stuff.
Marine, appreciate you, says Ole Miss has to pull for Georgia to win out in the worst way. Yeah, you want your win to be as good as possible. So, I think you're in if you win 2 games no matter what. But sure, pull for the Bulldogs to beat Tennessee. It gives Tennessee another loss, and it makes you look a little better. Because if you get in a 10-2 battle, you've got a dominating win over Georgia right now. So
today was a great day for Ole Miss beyond winning this game. The ACC is officially down to 1 bid. Because with Miami taking that loss, like, they're not – whoever ends up winning of SMU, like, they're getting 1 bid. And now it's trending to where the Big 12 – I think the way they laid out the Big 12, that they were likely to only get 1 bid on Tuesday. And so today was a good day there. Also, I can't be the only person that thinks this, right? That Lane decided to – all right, you can't you can't find me for injury. I'm just going to start releasing squirrels when I need a timeout.
That was great. That was
I
great.
mean, apparently one was in the South Club too. There at one point there during, according to Rippy. Sam, appreciate your super chat. Says thanks for all coverage of Ole Miss and the SEC at large. I'm a trucker, and y'all keep me focused on the road daily. Hotty toddy. Appreciate you, Sam. Tell us where you, if you're out on the road ever, tell us where you're at. Jump in the stream. Let us know. I always like hearing from the truckers. We hear from you guys a lot, and that's it's actually one of my favorite parts of the job is seeing what you guys are doing, where you're at, and where you're coming from, and where are your where you're headed every time. Let's jump into some stats real quick because these are pretty crazy. Ole Miss, Georgia only had 70 total yards at halftime in this game. 70 total yards for the game. Ole Miss out yards them 397 to 245. Georgia throws for 186. Ole Miss throws for 263. And then from a rushing standpoint, Georgia, the Bulldogs run for only 59 yards today, 1.8 per carry when you factor in sacks there for the Georgia Bulldogs. 16 first downs for the Bulldogs, 19 for the Rebels. Ole Miss only had 3 penalties on the day. That's an improvement. That's better than.
I'll tell you what, they made them count.
They did. They did make them count. Let's see. Obviously, 3 turnovers for Georgia. Ole Miss really got after the football, and they forced several more because, I mean, you got the one on the strip sack of Carson Beck late where you commit the face mask and give it back to him. It was, I mean, had Georgia found a way to win that football game, that would have been the most. 4th and 25 would have been, or whatever, would have been completely erased. That would have been the dumbest play in Ole Miss sports history if that had led to any kind of different outcome. Ole Miss did not fumble the football. They had the 1 interception there on the 3rd play of the game. Ole Miss sacking Georgia 5 times, so the nation's top sack defense. They get 5 more against Carson Beck today. Beck finishes 20 for 31, 186, 0 touchdowns, 1 interception. Ole Miss would have loved to have had that. And then Trevor Etienne only gets 6 carries, 24 yards. But I like how that dude runs. I mean, he finds gaps, finds cuts. He was a guy that Ole Miss was looking at pretty hard there. Had they gotten the Judkins thing figured out a little earlier, he would have been a pretty good rebel for the Rebels. He's all right. I like Etienne.
Yeah, no, he's good. He's a really good player. Always has been. Look, I'm going to say here the stat that I would like to bring up again. Yep. First 7 games of the season, Jackson Dart sacked 39 times. The last 3 weeks, 3 times.
3. 12 quarters, 3 sacks.
Makes a difference.
And look, and that's 3 pretty good defensive lines, including Georgia and Oklahoma. I mean, that's not Furman in Middle Tennessee.
Yeah, they did a good job today. They mixed in. They were ticking the back versus 0 pressure. They were ticking the back and running angle routes. They got a big first down. Our boy hit one on his drive on 3rd down or whatever it was when they moved Watkins in the backfield. They ran it, I think, 3 times, ticking the back, moving outside the backfield, and then running an angle, trying to get them to overset coming from back from the field. They did some really good things to get the ball out of his hands quick early, and it's not really quick game. It's more of check downs. And, I guess this would have been their 3rd field goal drive. I wrote down, you can't get broke taking a profit. He went check down, all the way down the field. So he did a really good job of checking the ball down, and he hasn't been forcing it, but he doesn't have to force it when he can go through his progression. So it's good on both sides, good on the O-line and really good on Dart by being patient. I think the offensive line has been the key to the puzzle, man. Been the piece of the puzzle.
Yeah, I mean, after the 3rd play of the game when he was banged up and came in and all that happened, they ended every drive with a kick, Siski, unless you count the 2-point conversion.
Yep. The first drive, that's it. And they had 1 touchdown. They had 1 touchdown the entire game, a 21-yard drive after a pick. The only drive not to end with a kick. Now, you could get really picky. It's good when you have a defense. I guess you don't have to. If you wanted to get picky, you would like to. They still have the same issues. The warts are the warts, right? And it's the running game. They can't. It's particularly in the red zone when things condense. When they don't have the threat to throw it over top, and you can start those safeties a little bit more involved in run fits. It's probably too many field goals in the red zone. You don't want that to get you. But with all that being said, I thought they did a good job of being patient and understand the flow of the game. When you're playing defense like that, it doesn't matter. Just get points on the board. You know what I mean? So, they basically had 4 field goals. Yeah, four field goals. So, and with a bomb, by the way, that one field goal, holy shit. I don't know if I've seen a kicker kick a field goal that far in my life. He hit it's like a 50-yarder and went over the upright.
53 yards, and then it went over the top upright.
Like, damn.
So that's good from what, 65?
Yeah, I don't know. As long as I would ever try one.
Yeah, I mean, all I know though is he was fantastic tonight, but what does it say that even when he goes out for a 25-yarder, you're still like, is he going to miss this?
He's got a cannon.
He does not lack the leg strength.
There was the Juice Wells drive. Yeah, there was a Juice Wells touchdown. I forgot about that. I had said earlier Austin had the only one of the game.
I
Juice had one as well.
thought you meant the first half. It was the only touchdown of the first half. I thought that.
Yeah, so wrong on that. Look, I mean, from a kicking game overall, it was a huge day for Ole Miss because Caden Davis was nails. He was excellent tonight. His best game. His by far his best game was a Rebel. He was awesome, which when you consider the score and what happened. Fraser Messine had that one bomb there at the end of the first half that at least took Georgia out of having the chance to throw a pass and get something or do something there because they had one timeout after Ulysses Bentley had run out of bounds right there. And then Charlie Pollock got a couple of those holds down that were snaps were high, and he pulled those bad boys down. So he's making an effort here beyond just being the guy that came in to punt a little bit earlier in his career.
I was really surprised they didn't go after that punt. You have nothing to lose with 15 seconds on the clock. I would have put 11 up and told my guys, like, hey, look, if you rough the kicker, it's okay here. You know what I mean? I'm surprised they didn't go after that one. That's the one you say if you block it or rough it. I don't care. Block it, send 11, block it or rough it. Doesn't matter. It's irrelevant.
Does it matter at all, just even in a home playoff game scenario or anything else? I mean, does Ole Miss need to root for Alabama or LSU tonight?
Dog, I wouldn't. I mean, look now. Hey, don't get greedy, Chase. Just try to get the playoff.
I'm getting the question 1,000 times in the stream. I'm just passing it along.
There's no way. This is the whole thing. There's no way to know.
What if LSU Al Davis, just win, baby. Just win, and whatever happens, happens. Don't get greedy. That's Chase, I text you this week. Don't get $1 million in a sack and bitch about the sack. You know what I mean? Just take your fucking $1 million and go on about your day.
Because their odds of getting into the playoff at 10-2 are better than the 65% ESPN was throwing up on the screen. It's damn 95%.
They're getting in if they go 10-2, especially which Jeffrey brought up today with Miami losing. ACC just turned into a one bid league, so that means Notre Dame is getting in off probably their bid, right? So now you're going to get at least 4 in.
Texas in the best shape right now.
Yeah, because they got now.
They got the fewest losses.
Going to Texas A&M will give them 2 losses. They would have to lose 2 in a row. You know,
Georgia or Tennessee is going to lose a game because they play each other.
Yeah. Now
Texas can knock A&M out.
Tennessee can afford to lose one. Georgia can't.
Yes.
That's the other thing is, I know I've been harping on it all summer, but it's like this really is turning into diet NFL. Like, people are going to have to get used to the idea of your record's not going to be like what we view as an elite team. That's just not the case anymore. The talent's way too spread out. The talent's way too spread out. The difference between, the 4th team and the 35th team is really not that much. And so it's going to oftentimes come into, like, who needed it more today? Ole Miss clearly needed this game way more than Georgia did. And to me, like, what really stood out watching the game was like, man, Ole Miss played like they needed it more.
Hey, you heard about that motivations versus matchups? You heard that anytime this week there, Chaser?
I think that played into this thing a little bit here.
Well, yeah, I mean, just when Georgia has lost, I mean, they don't lose very many times when their back's against the wall. And
I love the Dogs next week.
Yeah, I'm going ahead. I need Tennessee to like blow out Mississippi State and let the line get up. I mean, the line come down.
Alabama punching one in here, right?
Oh, you're ahead of me. You're way ahead of me.
I don't know. I'm reading from the stream. I don't have one yet either.
Yeah, I don't.
It hasn't shown.
Oh, there it is. Big play. Look at there. Milrow friggin' running.
Michael Vick.
Oh, where the quarterback run game works against LSU? No way.
You did?
Ooh, boy, that is some Tyler. That is some amazing tackling.
What is it? What is it? Okay.
Hey, you know whose fault that is? That's that great linebacker, number 40. What's his name?
Thank you.
Fitting the wrong fucking gap.
Weeks. Whit Weeks.
Oh yeah. He's a stud.
That great run fit right there.
Okay, don't scream. Okay.
Because he can't redirect.
Carly. Okay. Okay, stop.
She's turned tonight. Let's go.
Yeah, I don't know if we have sugar or what. It's 6:50, and we're
she got into Daddy's men's stash, man. She's ready to go.
She brought me something and said I made a little treat, and it's like some kind of dough ball, and it has spices in it, but it's like hot as hell. It's like got cayenne pepper or something.
I bet it does have spices in it. Is it green by any chance of imagination?
No, I don't know what's. No, it's not wasabi. No.
I ain't talking about that.
Yeah.
You got some of that fun. You got some of them fun edibles over there. We making edibles? What we doing? We making brownies?
Yeah, I'm making brownies. Okay. Carly, please stop. What do you want to say? Okay, stop. All right, you're tired. Go. Okay, stop. Go now. No, you don't.
This is great.
Here's the truth, okay? Here's the truth. Thank God they won, because this would be the most obnoxious thing in the history of the world right now with a loss. So thank God it's a win.
Oh man, it's kids. Hey, they're kids. Enjoy them while you got them. They grow up fast, brother.
Yeah. This is what you get to look forward to, Jeffrey.
Oh, I mean, we're full like speed walking this week, and
no,
she enjoys. Let me just say this: when she saw that I was talking into the computer, she got a little curious and was ready to come over too. A little side rant: is the worst camera angle in the SEC the Missouri camera angle?
A little low, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just like it's as bad. It's as bad as the Ole Miss camera, the basketball camera angle is.
Oh,
the pavilion's the worst camera angle in the entire league.
The Ole Miss camera angle is elite, man. Basketball.
Just the top of the roof.
Love. That's where I sit. That's right. I sit right next to the cameras. I love it.
It's the only way. Like the whole time, you're just like you're feeling like, oh man, I can't even see the numbers. Like who was that?
That's the portal's fault.
That's true. That is the portal's fault. That's actually Ross's fault that they didn't know the rules about. They didn't know the rules about where you could put your students and the benches.
Oh, that's
and
right.
So like. Everybody that has a college basketball arena, because every night's not going to be full. You got midweek games. You're trying to get people in. The students will always be there. So the camera all just faces the students. Well, Ole Miss didn't know about the bench rule, and so now they're in that position. And they were going to try to fix it, but now I don't know. Like everybody's not spending any money on facilities. Everybody's trying to spend money on the roster. So who knows?
I just got a video from my wife. She stormed the field with my 8-year-old. So there you go. Let's go.
Did she really?
Yeah. She said, she texted me. She said, the hell with it. She was going to go.
Yeah, Ole Miss is going to change their basketball angle. It's okay. Okay, thank you. They're changing it before next year. the CGAs come open after the year. So like anybody that did the CGAs and the season tickets, those come back open. And they probably have to get rid of a couple of seats or at least move them around. So at the pavilion, they are fixing the camera to the other side there after that. So it's a thing after this coming season, to the best of my knowledge for that.
I'm not saying that you're not right that that's the plan, but what we've been seeing with every single building project is everybody's putting
Yes.
every building project in. Like, okay, well, if that's an extra, if to Tyler's point, whatever it was worth it to the defensive lineman, if it's the difference between a camera angle and one defensive lineman, I know what everybody's getting.
Let's go. I mean,
See?
look, that's the offensive line obviously talk about, but
She waved at everybody.
When you can close games like that, I mean, you got a chance, man. You know what I mean? Like they didn't touch him. They didn't touch one. They didn't touch four when he wanted to come. Every speed rusher in the SEC is just begging to be put up line up on the right side. We might be out the gate on this one.
LSU down to the 7. What is it? Is there anything specific? I mean, what is it about Perkins that's made him so much better this year? Is it scheme and put him in the right place? Is it the way he's advanced, or what?
Yeah, I mean, I think a little bit of both, right? You get to speed the game.
She's not on there right now.
But when he's that position is see ball, hit ball, right? I mean, there's not a whole lot to it. See ball, hit ball. And when you got a depending on your fits, if you got a two-way go, I mean, it's see ball, hit ball. The thing that I think he's done a really good job of is he's done a really good job. He's added tools to his tool belt. You know, he's not just a speed rush guy. He's able to switch over and do some bull rush. You know, put his foot in the ground and then push the pocket. But look, he's got a hell of a man. I mean, he's got a different gear. He's obviously a very instinctive player, but he's got a different gear than everybody else. And then he's so damn long, and like when he goes to dip and rip, when he rips, man, he damn near touches the ass of the center when he rips, man. He's so long. He just causes so many issues. Those two in the field together, like if you get in a situation to end the game when you got 2 and 89 pushing the pocket and 1 on 4, and we used to call that dime rabbits. And I don't know if he's a dime or nickel, it doesn't matter. But the rabbits personnel, and you get those 4 on the field. I mean, you can get home with a 4-man rush. You're going to close out games. When you can get home with a 4-man rush, you're going to close out games. Period.
And they have Perkins back next year, just sophomore.
They got him back for 1 more year. That is correct.
You think only one more though, Siski?
Yeah. I mean, I mean, come on. I mean, like he doesn't even have to have how many sacks does he have right now?
I think he got to 10 tonight
for the season.
Yeah.
Put up 8, 9 more this year. He's a first-round pick, and they get paid. And one's going to get paid this year. One earned him a big check tonight. That was my last note I wrote down. One got paid. I said my last note of the night was one is a fucking dude, just got paid.
With that defensive line and with Amos as a lockdown corner, I mean, like, I'm not caught before the horse, but we're hanging out for a couple hours, so I mean, it's worth talking about. I mean, Siski, I mean, is this a team? And I know they got a running back problem. I get that. I get they don't even really try to run the football. I mean, even tonight they had this huge win, and yet it was 3.8 per carry. Nobody really did anything on individual stats. I mean, is this a team because of where they're good at that could win a few in a row and make a run through this thing?
Yeah, of course they can. You know, it's all about matchups though, and who they get, who's. You know, it's all about matchups.
Yeah, but I just mean in general.
Yeah, it's all about matchups. So if they get, you know, like, I mean, it's all matchups. Period. I mean, that's pretty much what it's going to boil down to. But yeah, I mean, they're playing really well right now.
What is the type of team that would give them the most trouble?
Somebody can protect the quarterback. LSU. Teams that can protect the quarterback. If you can protect the quarterback, you got a chance. But offensive line play is so shitty in football right now that you may not have to. I mean, there's not that many teams that can do it. But protecting the quarterback, Oregon would probably give them a little fits. Ohio State would give them a little bit of issue. But like if they played they'll match up well if they matched up and played like a Penn State. Notre Dame would give them an issue. But if you match up,
I saw today They will give Indiana hell.
Indiana struggled
They're
with
a
it
good
today.
team and they're a great story, but that's a paper tiger. Like their flaws are still staring
But
at
there's
you.
only one game left.
Oh, there is.
I'm not saying they're not in. I'm just saying that that team had zero chance of like winning 2 playoff games.
I think that was a big win for them today because Michigan was one of the teams that could expose that they're not great up front on the offensive line, and like that surviving that was huge.
I want to be the 5 seed. That's what I want.
Yes, the 5 seed is, especially if you get the 5 seed and you didn't have to play the SEC championship game.
Oh yeah, sign me up for that shit.
I mean, that's a perfect scenario in every way.
Now, I mean, I guess the argument would be, I think, like if Indiana's in it, I'd rather play Indiana than Boise.
No.
I mean,
no.
I'm telling you, Boise up front, I think they have bigger guys up front.
Boise's a one-trick pony.
I'm telling you, I think up front they are better than Indiana.
Jeffrey.
This is not a bit. I've watched both of them. Indiana has played every Big Ten team that doesn't have any size. And that is, like today, Tyler, I don't know how much you saw today because they could not block Michigan. They couldn't block Michigan.
Well, there's people that struggle with that. Did Carly Ann bring you the brownies to your house? Is that why you were in the kitchen?
Well, Michigan's lost 5 games. There's not a lot of teams that struggle with it.
Illinois beat Michigan.
Yes.
Okay.
I understand they're a client. I'm not saying that you don't have friends on the staff. I'm not saying any of that. I'm telling you, I would rather play Indiana than I would rather play Boise.
Dude, I would play Boise and line fuck up and say, run that motherfucker up in here now and see what happens. And that's all they got. That's it. Ball game. They can't.
That's fine.
Not one other thing. They can't stop you. They can't throw it. All they do is turn around and hand the motherfucker and standing up like this. That's all they do. That's all they do.
Well, Oregon needed a punt return and a kick return to stop it. So,
and we like fucking too right after they fucking struggled against Idaho. Yeah, you're right. You're 100% correct. 100% correct. They also struggled against Idaho, won like 17-13. So I guess Idaho's fucking
but they also outgained Idaho 5-1. Like that was an abomination.
What was the fucking score?
But I'm telling you, like, if you looked at it statistically, the Oregon
Nobody.
Game,
the only stat that matters is the motherfucking scoreboard, Jeffrey. That's the only stat that matters.
You're the king of saying I don't care.
No.
Are you shitting me?
No. Do you really think you would really rather play Indiana than Boise? You're really gonna say that?
Yes, I would.
Wow.
All right, Siski. If Ole Miss plays Boise and plays Indiana in the first round, give me the 2 lines if you were doing a Vegas line on those 2 games.
If they're playing Boise, it's Ole Miss minus 41.5. If they're playing Indiana, it's minus 14.
So you think Ole Miss would boat race Boise State?
Yeah, Genty would have 36 carries for 42 yards if he played Ole Miss. I mean, I just sit there and watch fucking who'd they play the other night? They played some slapdick team the other night. He had like 1.9 yards rushing until the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Please sign me up for Boise in the playoffs, please.
Back to an earlier point, you do think this is – I mean, I agree with you. Given the stakes, given the time of year, everything, this is Ole Miss's biggest win since the 1960s.
Oh, yeah, easy for me. I mean, I'm not a historian. I mean, I know kind of because I work there, but I can't.
The 2 Alabama wins were October the 4th, and they were in September. You still had so much to go.
It was just nothing on the line. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I'm not a historian. I'm sure there's some blue hair that probably knows better than I do. But somebody that's got a Colonel Red paint in their man cave. But for me, that's since the bad land shark has come up, or the bear, or they took the sticks out of the Confederate flag. I definitely think it's the biggest win since then.
Jeffrey, what's the is it game control early, or is it trying to figure it out? Like if there's a log jam at 6-2 for the SEC title, how are they separating this thing?
I think they're going to do it based on they're going to do it based on the playoff rankings. Now the question will be, how much influence do they have on the playoff rankings?
Isn't there some weird shit though?
Yeah, there's like a game control. I'm trying to pull it up right now. Somebody asking what Ole Miss is going to be in the college ball playoff rankings on Tuesday. They're going to go ahead of the team. They were 16. They're going to jump over. 9. They're going to jump over the loser of this game, and then you got to think they're going to jump over Boise and SMU and all those teams.
Is 7-2 Ole Miss ahead of 8-1 Miami? My gut says yes.
What was Miami?
4.
Miami was 4.
They're going to fall to like 9.
They're going. SMU didn't play. I don't know. That's a good question.
They're going to jump over LSU or Alabama. They're going to jump over A&M. They're going to jump over SMU.
I'll say this: if LSU wins, they will be ranked right behind LSU.
Yeah, wherever those two teams end up in this pecking order.
I think that's another reason why you want Alabama to win this game. I think you want to get
Bama losing will tumble in this thing.
But I think if you have this weird – the reason why I want LSU out is one thing that we have seen them do is when two teams have the same record, they have given their whole reason why Ole Miss is ranked where they are, which is one spot behind LSU, is just because LSU won head-to-head. Like if you looked at the rankings this week, you could tell they were having to move teams around because but this team lost to that team. And so it's the reason why I just would want LSU out.
So
who's LSU got left besides what's LSU got left after
LSU has a Florida game
and Vanderbilt.
And yeah.
Is Florida
and
game
somebody
next
else.
Week? Is Florida game next week? At Florida State's the last game of the year. They play LSU next week.
Who do you want LSU's schedule right now?
But LSU plays Florida. Is it next week? Don't they play them before Ole Miss while Ole Miss is on the bye?
Yes, it is the 16th. And they have Oklahoma. So they have LSU. LSU has at Florida on the 16th. They have Vanderbilt the following week, and then they have Oklahoma to close the season.
Okay, so we were wrong because I thought I was with you, Tyler, and it's not. Let's see. Yeah, they're not mentioning any game control here. So SEC tiebreakers, head-to-head competition, record versus all common conference opponents among the tied teams. That doesn't work either in this logjam I'm talking about. Record against highest placed common conference opponent in the conference standings and proceeding through the conference standings among the tied teams.
So weirdly, I think
know.
that helped
Yeah.
Georgia. Basically, it's going to be like
because Georgia has a win over Texas,
right? And then,
if Texas wins the league, Georgia plays them in the title game.
I think that's right.
Unless
but then
Texas
what happens? What happens if Texas is 6-2 and they lose to A&M on the last week, and that puts A&M would be 7-1 then, right? And so then does LSU go if they're 6-2 because they would have the best win?
Maybe.
Or, I'm sorry,
yeah, I don't know.
No, because they would have two.
No. Does that mean so South Carolina's out?
South Carolina's
out. You know what the big take for me was? This was like my overreaction 3 weeks ago on our Monday show. I know we all said we wanted to get rid of divisions. I kind of miss divisions. It was cleaner. It was easier. But I do think the biggest takeaway from all this is I will be stunned if they don't have a 9-game conference schedule next year because of the unbalanced schedule, everything. I think that especially
you think they tear the schedule up for next season?
Especially if they get to the point where they clearly don't have their – because the whole deal was to protect the SEC championship game and the sanctity of the SEC championship game. If they get into that and they don't have the two best teams in that game, I think that they're going to have to figure out how do we fix this.
Freaking 15, man. I don't know if I don't know. You may know more than I do. I haven't heard anything. I haven't asked about the 9-game stuff, but I agree they got to go to 9 games sooner rather than later. That's
you can't have a 16-team league with 8 games.
It's the same thing the Big Ten, right?
Yeah. Well, no, they play 9 games.
No, what I'm saying, but they got 18 teams.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. I mean, you're sitting here with Indiana, Penn State, and Ohio State, and Oregon. And Indiana doesn't play Penn State. They don't play Oregon. They don't play Minnesota. I mean, you're there's no, and you're looking at Penn State. Who the fuck's Penn State play? And
Penn State's best win is USC. Maybe it's West Virginia, honestly.
Ooh.
I got my other upset alert was Washington over Penn State tonight. And
that's on the cock, right?
Yeah, he just dunked a field goal to go up 3-0.
What's a draft stock on Trey Amos?
I don't know. I haven't asked. I'll find out. I haven't asked.
I mean, teams aren't even really targeting him at this point. He's been a lockdown on one side of the field. I think he only has 3 targets the last 3 weeks.
He'll go to the Senior Bowl and make money. I mean, it'll go up. I don't know how high, but it'll go up because Nagy loves him. I know Nagy likes him, so he'll get plenty. He'll go to the Senior Bowl and he'll have his opportunity to shit or get off the pot.
So, who are first round possibilities on this team?
First round possibilities: 2, 1, 2.
Melon, no one.
Probably it.
Did y'all see this?
Is Perkins a first round next year?
I don't know. Size may get him.
Yeah.
He's not a long guy. They love the long guys, and that's why one's going to impress. In the underwear Olympics, he's long, dude. He's a good looking dude.
Oh, he is one good looking football player.
No, did he?
It's almost like it's a lot easier to play linebacker when your defensive line's a lot better. It's amazing. Like, he's looked like an awesome football player this year.
Who's that?
Perkins. I think part of him playing so well this year is just how awesome the defensive line has been.
Did y'all get any read on what was going on with Pegues? Was that just a continuation of whatever's been doing with that shoulder and neck?
No, he got pinched.
Stinger.
I mean, he got.
I thought it was this one.
No, they were doing like this.
He got stretched. I mean, it was legit.
Oh no! I thought it was the bell rung.
Oh no! Yeah, no, it was something shoulder neckish. Yeah,
no. I was not saying it was the lobster. I was again. That's what the squirrel's for. The squirrel's out there to avoid the fake injuries.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually
your boy Paul showed up again tonight, Siski.
He's a dude, man. He is a dude. He's a hell of a player.
He is a lights come on guy.
I mean, whatever. A guy.
People saw him in August when I don't know. He looks overrated, not doing anything at practice, blah blah blah, and then
who's watching practice?
I'm just telling you, that's what everybody said. I don't know.
Who's everybody? I would actually like who is.
The internet said, Siski. You know what? You've learned that. Everything on the internet's true.
I would like to know who said that guy wasn't very good after they watched him, because that motherfucker is a baller.
TJ Daugherty had 10 tackles tonight to lead the Rebels.
How many did 11 end up with?
9. One behind him.
Yeah, he's so instinctive, man. Oh, Okie with a fake punt. Take it to the crib. Oh, and he jumped a returner. What a great play.
We also hadn't said his name yet. Jared Ivey had a hell of a game tonight.
He did. He played well.
2 sacks, couple pass breakups even, knocking some balls down, 7 tackles.
I thought he was going to –
weeks. Like, he's had really good – like, he's played well for a while. You know what I mean? Like, he's been very solid. He's overshadowed by 289, but he's a dude.
I thought he was going to have a walk-in pick 6 at the end.
They're asking about Perkins gaining weight. He's tried, and he just can't gain it. I mean, we'd all love to have his metabolism. I mean, dude is on like hamburgers and milkshakes every day, and he gained like 4 pounds in the off season.
Yeah, there comes a point in time though. Even like you gotta like it's all cool about gaining weight. It's not about gaining weight with him. He just doesn't have a frame to hold it. You know what I mean? Like to be like when you look at like when we took like Cedric Johnson, right? That guy's a square. You know, square guys can put it on, right? He never had the weight to be a big dude but there comes a point when you start losing your quick twitch, you got to cut it off. You can't just get big to get big. You know what I mean? But I mean, he's gonna make money. He's gonna get drafted, and that's the thing is like what I said next year is there's nothing he's gonna be able to do in year 4 that's gonna improve his draft stock. He kind of is what he is. Kind of like AJ Brown. Like AJ Brown's knock from the scouts was his speed, and I was like, okay, if AJ comes back for another year, what's he gonna do? Catch more balls? I mean, like. You kind of are what you are when it comes to physical stuff. Like you are what you are. Once you reach, there comes a point of diminishing returns. And I think after another year, he'll be there.
By the way, Oklahoma's got first and goal from the 20. How do you think that's going to go?
How the hell that happened? I just looked up.
I think there was a hold, but like, you know, their offensive line is it's still exactly what it is.
But yeah, Perkins just doesn't have the frame to be a big dude.
They're mentioning the stream. Xavion Harris has become a hell of a defensive lineman. You know, he's a physical dude now.
He just gets overshadowed by 289. You know what I mean? Like but he makes just as many. He doesn't make as many plays as 2, but he makes the second most plays for sure. And when 2 decides he wants to play, he's as good as everybody.
Everybody's asking about Trey Harris. Look, that groin is not in good shape. He didn't even try tonight. I was told earlier in the week that he gave it a go, and I mean, just couldn't even make any kind of moves at all. I mean, when you have a groin that's pretty messed up and you're a wide receiver, there's not much you can do other than wait and let time take hold. I mean, there's no quick recovery there.
No, groins suck. I mean, it's just I don't know how. Obviously, it's not good if he's been out this long, but they're no good. He's in,
and he's a good dude. It's not a Ewing theory. I appreciate the super chat. Somebody asked that earlier. It's not a Ewing theory. They would love to have Trey Harris out there. They're not better without Trey Harris. He would be helpful right now.
Yeah,
they're scheming. They're picking up the slack. They're obviously playing well the last 2 weeks. Receiving today, Caden Lee 4 catches, 81 yards. Watkins 4 for 68, Bentley 4 for 38, Juice 3 for 27 and the touchdown. Daquan Wright 2 for 23, Priestcorn 1 for 26. They targeted the tight end 6 times, so that turned into 3 catches for the Rebels.
They didn't run that play, Chase. They didn't run that play.
That was the problem.
They didn't come out there and go, "Hey, all right, 11 personnel. Here we go. Ace Pro Twins right. Ace Pro Twins right. 60, throw it to the tight end. 60, throw it to the tight end on one-on-one. Ready to break?" They didn't throw that play today.
What's 60 in that call?
Protection, right?
Protection, yeah. 6-man protection.
Okay.
I just had to throw in a protection.
They threw the one. They threw the one to him.
No, that's what I'm saying. You just throw it when the progression dictates it. You can't just chunk it to the bitch just because you want to.
Jackson Dart, 13 of 22, 199. I had not mentioned that. I haven't looked at Cam Ward's numbers, but I'm assuming Jackson's going to maintain the lead in passing yards nationally after this week.
Yeah, Cam Ward, man. Jeez. I'd like to coach that dude. Somebody's getting his ass. He's so talented, dude. Golly. He tries to do too much. It's like watching him and Shador Sanders play quarterback is freaking mind-numbing. It's like against the law.
How many teams you think you can't use the word matchup when I ask this question to both of you. How many teams you think can actually run through this thing and are national title contenders at this point?
I don't know. Maybe the answer is more than we think because there's not a dominant team.
One team gets hot for 4 weeks.
Like, I think Oregon clearly deserves to be the number 1 team, but do I think that they're the most dominant team in the country? Not really. But I don't. Then it becomes the question of who do I think is the most dominant team? I mean, I don't know. I mean, today. I mean, think about this. Ole Miss did something to Georgia that even Alabama couldn't.
I'm probably with Jeffrey on this one. I don't know. I mean, there's plenty of teams that you can say, but I don't know if there's not a 22, 21, 22 Georgia. You know what I mean? Or even last year's Georgia when you were like, you better hope they don't fucking get in the playoffs, or a Alabama team that lost 2 games and back in the 14 playoff. You better hope they don't get in the playoffs, and then they go play like Michigan State in the Citrus Bowl and beat them by 90. Like there's not that team that you're just like that I think can just truly take it. And I'm not, so I won't say the word matchups, but it's what it's going to come down to is somebody getting hot and making play. It's the NFL, man. That's what it is. It's the NFL.
And who, because I don't think, to your point, there's nobody that has the roster that is just that dominant roster. I think you're just going to, the healthiest team. Like, if Ole Miss stays pretty healthy, I think they got a pretty good shot.
They've got a nice bye week for a week here to see if they can get anything back over the course of 14 days. Real quick, just explaining this because I'm assuming this is what happened. We'll ask Neil when he comes in. Jay Robertson says Brad posted on Twitter Kiffin got applauded at the press conference. LOL. There are donors and admin and people that come into the press conference. That was not media applauding Lane. There are rows of other people in the back of the room there in the building. That wasn't like some sort of some sort of Robin Williams moment where somebody got on a desk. That's not what happened in there. So,
Jason, you don't think Neil was in a standing ovation when he came in the room? That's great.
Maybe so.
Hey, by the way,
I've been trying to get Rippy in the thing because he stayed to the end for some of the celebration stuff, and my system is frozen right now. I can't do anything. The environment start to finish. I mean, I was only there for a half, but that was. I mean, I think it was, considering the weather and everything involved. I think it was actually more. Start to finish intense than Bama. Yeah.
Hey, when Scoops joins us, like as soon as you put him in, just don't say anything. Just when Scoops gets in, we all need to stand up and just start applauding Scoops and see what he says. Just don't say anything. Just when he gets in.
Did any of those what we used to call the Tui section? Did any of those did they thank Lane when they were clap? Like, do we need to add any dialogue to our clapping, or are we just going to get them a standing up?
Dog, it was every week, you know what I mean? Because I went in the press conference every week because I would take Matt to recruits or whatever, and when you lose and you go in those press conferences, they're there too, and you don't even want to make eye contact with them. It's bad. I'm just like, I get it. It's appreciated. I know they get access because of the money and stuff that they're donating, but it's like, dog, it comes to a point where you're like, I don't know, man. It gets, I guess after a win, I would probably call them out after a loss because it makes it very awkward. Like you feel like you have to talk to them or say hello to them or acknowledge them. And I didn't really want to fucking talk to anybody. So
is that the worst part of the gig, is doing recruiting after a loss?
Yeah, I don't like recruiting on game day, period.
Yeah.
I hate it. But yeah, like I remember the worst was I was at Arkansas State and I brought in a JUCO kid on an official visit and we got beat at home, FAU at home. And I had to go to dinner with him afterwards. And I was like, that was the fucking worst. I'm a terrible loser. I don't want to talk to fucking anybody. I want to be left alone.
What's the maddest or most upset you've ever been after a loss?
Kick 6.
Okay, that counts.
Yeah. Cost me a 6-figure bonus.
Where were you as that play happens in developing?
In the box. Never saw it. I saw the first 40 yards and I got up and walked out. Closed my shit, went in the elevator.
Did you really?
Yep. Never watched it. I've yet to watch the play to this day.
Did other coaches come out with you at the same time? I mean, like what were you hearing and stuff?
Uh-uh. I mean, they were pretty quick. I just closed my notebook, took my headset off, closed my notebook. I saw as soon as our contain guy jumped inside, I knew there was nobody left. So I closed my shit and went in walked out, and the elevator was right behind me. The elevator was probably 20 feet outside the box. So yeah, I still haven't watched the play. Six figure bonus that one cost me. So yeah, when fans get pissed off, I was really pissed that game.
In fairness, that game was lost before that kick.
How so?
I mean, what was it? 0 for 5. Like, there was 5 missed field goals, like inside of 40 yards, like the red zone, and then the RPO. I thought Saban was going to get the rule changed the next year when that Marshall RPO worked.
Well, we prepped for it. I mean, but if you go to overtime, we had the momentum. We go to overtime, we would beat them. We were a better team.
No, I think they were the better team the whole day. Like my point is, it shouldn't even come down to that kick. Like I think that game should have been multiple scores. Says the guy that bet on Alabama that day.
Yeah, I don't like talking about it. It pisses me. I'm still a little pissed about it.
Tennessee 14, State 7 right now. Second quarter, 4:19 to go.
So State went for it on 4th and 1. If State winds up covering the number, that's a play to circle.
Say that again.
So State had a 4th and 1, and like they put together their best drive of the game. It's like if they wind up covering the number, that play was huge because oftentimes on the road, big time underdogs just going to go and take some points. They went for it.
Hey, what did it close at?
I got 24.5. I don't know if it went up to 25 or not.
Who'd you take?
I took the points. That's just a big number, man.
Especially with Tennessee struggling scoring to start the game.
Now, I mean, I took a big number with Florida today too, and that was dead in 10 minutes.
I talked to somebody earlier. I said, if you had told me if I took 21 and a hook, and you told me that Florida was going to score 17 points, I would
have thought I covered.
I would have been in a great mood.
Turnovers, baby.
That score, dude, that quarterback, good gracious. I know he's like a 43rd stringer, but golly, like, bro, help us out. Help us guys with the hook out.
There were some wide open guys running free.
Bro, they went empty. Like, they went empty, and they were in cover 0. They went empty. No safeties. Like, got 3 guys to the right, three wide receivers to the right, and empty. No safeties. All right. This dude set the protection to the left, and I looked over there. There were 4 dudes over 3 with no safeties. Like, woo, woo. Like, that's quarterbacking 101. Like, this dude over here is coming. Like, he's coming right there. And he never saw it, and it hit him right in the throat. And I was like, oh. I mean, I thought this dude went to Yale or some shit. Like, you know what I mean? I mean, like, come on, man.
I knew he was in trouble. I knew he was in trouble when they ran a play action fake and he had like a deep out to the other side. But it was well blocked. Like, it was like he had plenty of time. And you can just tell when a guy's scared shitless is like he rushes the fake and then he tries to like quickly just throw it out there. You're just like, all right, this kid's toast.
Well, you can time his release with a fucking sundial.
Yeah.
Bama, it's 14-3 over LSU into the first quarter. Jonty with 92 yards rushing through 13 minutes tonight against the Nevada Wolfpack.
Woo!
Oh, God. Keep forgetting Ole Miss gets a bye week.
They gave the Troy Trojans fits.
They did.
Trojans.
Let's see. Super chat here says, Tyler, football nerd question. Army and Vandy almost always at an athletic disadvantage, yet run the ball well. Can Ole Miss and other more talented teams solve run struggles through scheme?
Yes and no. You got to have the guys up front to do it. Like my guy pissed me off today, man. 57 sitting there like the ball ran left. The dude's sitting there like he was baffing, man. That's what I call it. He was baffing. He was being a fan. He was just sitting there like watching, like block somebody. Damn, just do something. Like they just don't move well. Like they don't move fucking forward well. As big as they are, man, they ought to be like as big as they are up front. They ought to be running duo up people's asshole, and they don't fucking move anybody. They play high. Like that's very frustrating. But look, man, hey, look, I'm not going to complain. I picked the Rebels to win. They gave up 1 sack. Great job, but they don't run block for shit.
So
like yes, schematically there are some things you can do, but I don't know if they're athletic enough to perform them up front.
Whew, Drew Pine is aggressively bad.
All right, question.
mm-hmm.
Do you take Drew Pine as your starting quarterback, or you take the guy? You got to pick one. You taking Drew Pine, or you taking this cat that's playing at Florida right now?
God. I think maybe you say Pine just because Pine has played more, so that like maybe I'm less Pine just sucks, but at least he's not like overwhelmed. That other kid sucks and he's overwhelmed. Oh, that was a lick on the sidelines.
How many units did you actually put on the game, Siski?
Which one?
Ole Miss.
One unit game.
Let's see.
Roped.
Dustin, thanks for Super Chat. Does Dart have a realistic shot at the Heisman? No, I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so. I think he needed a bigger game tonight from a statistical standpoint. I get he's second in yards and Ole Miss is a playoff team. I mean, I understand that. I'm not. It's a good question, but I would be a little surprised.
Travis Hunter, winner.
Can he get invited to New York if they invite 5?
I think haven't they decided they're only doing 3 now? I thought that was
it 3?
I don't think know. That was the. I think don't hold me to that, but I thought they made a change.
Okay.
Dude, Luther Burden just got knocked the fuck out.
No, that was what I was saying. Holy hell, what a hit.
Apparently the goalpost has now been posted up against the courthouse.
That's fun.
Do we know if it was the north or the south one?
I do not know the answer to that. Oh, they're both down. I don't know where they went.
Oh, wow, Jeffrey.
Just saying, these things matter. I believe when the goalpost went down against Florida in 2002, I think they only got the north one down. They never got the south one down. I mean, listen, I bet there's journalists here, Yeah,
does anybody know the answer to this? I'm looking up the Heisman stuff.
How can I change the subject?
No, I'm just looking up the Heisman stuff.
What are you trying to do? Look up current odds?
No, I was trying to look how many they're going to take. Drew says he's our Missouri grad in the stream. It says Drew Pine is one of the Missouri grad is listening to you guys while watching the Missouri game.
I do think, I'm going final answer. I'd rather have Drew Pine than Warren or whatever. Because that kid, good God. Like, there's no chance that kid was good in high school.
Didn't I see somewhere where it had his other stops? Drew Pine had a winning record. He was 6-2 or something.
Hey, fun fact.
He got to play at Notre Dame.
Come on in. Go put a shirt on. If you're gonna come in here, go put a shirt on.
No, Tyler, you told me the kids make it better. Let them come in with whatever they're doing. Doesn't matter. I don't know. No rules.
He'll come in.
No rules.
My man came in here with red hair, no shirt, and Skittles.
Okay, CJ says top 4 going to New York. Can Dart make top 4 to get an invite?
Cam Ward, Travis, let me think it out. Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, Genty.
So there's one spot left. But if Cam Ward loses again, is he out?
What's that?
If Cam Ward loses again, is he out?
Yeah, probably. The question is, does Colorado get Shador and Travis?
Did they win today?
They did.
They were
They
winning.
came back. Okay, so they're
They-
7-2.
Yeah, they also because I had the Red Raiders.
As did I.
There's the fake Mike the Tiger. I literally took Alabama when I found out it wasn't going to be actual Mike the Tiger and it was going to be BS Mike the Tiger. That's Mickey Mouse shit.
Jeffrey, would you rather have Pine or Bachmeyer?
I think I would just say, hand me the gun.
Hi.
You gonna say what's up?
So,
Did you rush the field? We've got to give a play-by-play here. Did you rush the field today?
Yes.
How was it?
how fun was that?
Fun.
Did you jump the fence, or did Mama help you jump?
I jumped the fence.
Did you help Mama jump, or did she use her gymnastic skills and jump herself?
She jumped and she squat down, but someone caught her.
Somebody called her. Did she get hurt?
No.
Did she say that her knees hurt when she got done?
No.
So I don't have to listen to any complaining when I get done?
No.
Okay. Did you get wet? Was it raining?
A little bit.
Hey, the people want to know. Tell me about your fan experience. How was the game?
Good.
Oh, you're a blast interview here. Good one-word answers. Great. Did you eat anything? Did you have any?
Yeah, did you rush the field when there were 16 seconds left, or did you rush the field when the game was over?
Rush the field when the game was over.
Hey, we raise our kids right here. They know the rules of football.
I keep forgetting about Dylan Gabriel. He's probably going too.
Oh yeah, he's going. Dylan Gabriel, throw him in there. Who's not?
So you got to pass Hunter, Gabriel, Jonty, or Dart or Ward.
Yeah. Knox, did you yell for Ole Miss, or did you pull for Georgia today?
Ole Miss, I wanted to, and I kind of had to.
You kind of had to.
And I wanted to.
He's an Ole Miss fan. He's an Ole Miss fan. You got to worry about this one.
Miss Angela's sitting next to me.
Yeah. Don't tell everybody that.
What are you eating?
We're eating Skittles, man.
They all taste the same. The colors don't matter.
What's your favorite color?
Red.
Red?
No,
Okay.
blue.
Okay.
Yeah, Ward's numbers stack up correctly with Heisman winners. I mean, that's true. I mean, I don't know. I don't think Dart can win it, but I mean, I do think with 2 more wins and big games and just getting the season-wide stats and they make the playoffs, he can get in. He has a shot at getting invited.
I looked up Heisman winners on Mom's phone. It only showed up 2 people. It was Cam Ward and Jackson Dart.
Okay.
Oh,
Hey, there
the
you
man
go.
has spoken.
It's been said.
That's right. Kid's just there so he doesn't get fined. That's a good one, Kevin. So you had no rainwater, you had no chicken wings, like you've done nothing?
As he's eating Skittles. Like, that's the most Marshawn thing ever, is literally they're just so you don't get, he's eating Skittles.
That's right. Is Mama cooking dinner?
No.
Come on, dog.
She cooking dinner.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
Uncle
Brian,
Jeffrey?
you're with us. I think it's working. Why the hell did they rush the field with 16 seconds left?
I don't think Cobra Security earned their paycheck this week. I think when Georgia turned it over on downs, they were like, I get paid $9 an hour, so just go ahead and run. I'm tired of dealing with you, but I don't really know why.
And also, during the commercial break, it said don't rush the field.
People don't listen, though. I can finally see y'all. Siski, it's great to see your bright and shining face. You too, Jeffrey, kinda.
Where are you?
Hey,
I'm
y'all
in the
talk for a
kitchen
second.
right now.
Y'all talk for 1 second.
I am back home. We went to the game and then came back home because the town's kind of a zoo. But how's y'all's day been?
Good. Just sitting here watching the Crimson Tide kick the shit out of LSU right now.
Yeah, how Ole Miss lost to both LSU and Kentucky should be studied. But anyway.
Well, Alabama's doing the thing that Ole Miss didn't do against LSU. Like, if you want to talk about the actual concern I do have for Ole Miss, a little bit concerning.
Definitely fair. I mean, what did y'all? I mean, I'm sure feel like this is kind of finally the Ole Miss team I thought they could possibly be at the beginning of the year.
I thought today was
Oh,
a
dog,
thorough ass kicking.
I'll say this. I mean, look, just beat freaking Georgia. Georgia has not lost to another opponent not named Alabama since the Wuhan flu. I would
Dan Mullen, last coach, right?
24-hour rule. 24-hour rule. Enjoy it before you work, and you got a bye week. Oh, great win in a bye week. No negativity zone tonight. No negativity zone tonight. It's Diet Miller's. It's the library. It's it's a good time.
Siski, I write down questions throughout the week. I wish I could just send you a list, but I probably have to pay you to answer all the stupid questions. Ole Miss keeps kind of tweaking the offensive line. Like they went with Kalepo instead of Bulow after they looked pretty good last week. Why do you think that is? They keep making minor tweaks to it, but they looked a little bit better this week than they had in previous weeks. Why do you think they keep kind of like minorly tweaking it?
I don't have a good answer for you on that one. I mean, they've been playing well since the bye week, so I mean they're going to put the best guys out there. They think they give them the best chance to win, obviously. So they probably think the changes make them better, but I mean that's the common sense answer. But look, they've played well the last 3 weeks.
Do you think it's enough to get them in the playoff if they win the last 2 games?
Oh yeah, they're in. I don't even think it's close. There's no, yeah, they're in. They're in. They win the next 2, they're in.
Dad.
Only the beauty of the 12-teamer, though, right? I mean, Ole Miss screwed up 2 games royally. I don't really understand the anti-expansion folks like Barrett Salih, who was arguing for the BCS a couple weeks ago. That has to be a shtick at this point, right? We have more games in November that matter than ever. Like this expanded playoff is kind of awesome in terms of the product you're watching each week.
Well,
I think
and
sorry, go ahead, Tyler.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
So I think 2 things can be true. I think it can be true that there are people that want to see when Alabama loses to Vanderbilt that it rips their guts out and it ends their season. But what has clearly also been true is that we just got so many more games in November that have high stakes and high pressure situations, which is what I love to watch in sports. It's made November better, but I think it's also like all right, you lose to Kentucky and you can kind of write it off. Like there are people that want to see like when you lose that Kentucky game, like that ends it. But that's just not – that's I think in this era it's probably for the best because I don't think we have truly dominant teams right now.
Yeah, I agree. I just thought the whole 4 teams named Alabama since COVID. So if you told that to a total stranger, you'd be like, okay, so they've been in the playoffs the last 4 years. Like, actually, they didn't make the playoff last year. They didn't get a chance to play for the national title. It's like, well, why? Well, because they lost to Alabama at the end of the year. I think it's more just in totality.
Yeah, I think though the other problem is it's not just that they lost to Alabama; it's that Alabama lost to Texas, and that they were having to do a tap dance of how to handle that.
True.
And Georgia lost I can't remember, somebody canceled them on the non-con, and because of that, Georgia's schedule ends up being weaker. In the end, Georgia's schedule is what cost them.
Well, that's the thing.
Go ahead, Todd. Go ahead, Sissy.
I was just saying, to rip you what you were asking about the playoffs and all that stuff. There's a 0.0% chance that they're going to leave Georgia out of the playoffs as a 10-2 team. And so with Ole Miss beating Georgia, thus they're not going to let Ole Miss get out of the playoffs.
So Ole Miss has like an insurance policy because of Georgia.
Correct.
Well, it's kind of like how Alabama had the insurance policy with Texas last year. Like they decided they're putting Texas in. So that's kind of like in the end how Georgia gets screwed.
Ole Miss has put 10 hellaciously good quarters together.
Well, 100%.
Well,
like
man.
this is like forget like how you felt personally about Florida State getting in or not. What they did establish last year was they told us, hey, we don't view the ACC as the same thing. And to me, that is a big takeaway. And to me, one of the big takeaways from Tuesday night was they confirmed it. They do not think the ACC and they do not think the Big 12 are the same thing that the Big 10 and the SEC are.
I don't even think that. I think the Big 10, if you take away Oregon and Ohio State, I think their average is grits.
Well, I think the Big 10 had 4 of the top 8, and I don't think they had anyone after 8. And so, that tells you, hey, it's a very top-heavy league, and even the committee's agreeing with that.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think some new people are coming to stream. Well, Ole Miss is in good shape at 10-2. They don't need extra help. This erased the Kentucky loss. As long as you don't lose out. Lose another game.
In my opinion, you're back on pace from what you thought preseason. You know what I mean? Because you said that they would lose to Georgia and somebody else, and so they beat Georgia. They just happened to lose to somebody else in Kentucky. So I think they're right on pace to where.
And look, here's the thing about this. Let's reverse it and say you don't lose to Kentucky, but you lose to Georgia. This is a better resume because I always want the better win than the worst loss.
100%. No,
there's no doubt about that. You want the marquee win instead of the thing where you look up and go, "Hey, 10-2, but who the hell did they beat?" I mean, that's what like Jeffrey said earlier in the show. That's what you were looking at that's what you were going to run into with Missouri.
Right.
Potentially. Is they go with 10-2, but you look and go, God, I mean, what is their best win? Auburn?
Right.
Yeah, Weldon made that point earlier this week on the podcast. If Ole Miss had gone 10-2 and they'd beaten Kentucky but lost to Georgia, do they get in the playoff in y'all's opinion? I would kind of lean no at the way things.
I mean, they would need more hell. You would definitely be having a scoreboard watch more than you are right now. For damn sure.
I guess the problem that I have with making grand proclamations is we still got 4 weeks of football left. And I think what we're seeing right now is teams are going to take some L's.
Yeah, if you get a win over Florida and you get a win over Mississippi State, you just let equilibrium win out, you're going to start shooting up that board over the course of 3 or 4 weeks. I mean, you're going to get to sit at home next week and let somebody do something dumb and lose because that's what's going to happen. That's what November brings you in this sport.
The best
I believe the stat is every week except one, a double-digit favorite has lost.
Yeah, jackpot. I think you probably have been drunk. Yes, even if right now Texas, Georgia, LSU, Alabama, and Tennessee are over Ole Miss, Georgia and Tennessee play each other next week.
Yeah.
Someone is going to lose a football game.
The best thing, and I know as we're talking about other things, but the best thing to happen for Ole Miss is having a bye week after this game. So flush it and move on and refocus and not take
having to get back up for a weird game in 5 days or whatever. And
yeah. So, it's.
I mean, look. I think we all believe here. I'm not going to sit here and act like this is some toss-up situation. So, I mean, take this with the relative grain of salt that it is. But, Florida or State, which one at least poses a bigger matchup issue for Ole Miss?
Florida. Florida. If Florida has a quarterback, they're a tough out.
If Florida,
but there's no way Lagway actually is healthy enough and mobile enough, right? Even if he plays
in 2 weeks, maybe I don't know. I mean, he practiced Wednesday. Now I know it's limited, but golly, that was been bad. Good job by the receiver there. He practiced Wednesday. They're playing well. When they have quarterback play. Defensively, they're playing really well.
No, there's parts of them that can be kind of scary.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt about that.
And it's on the road.
Yeah, but I would rather be Ole Miss. They're hitting their stride at the right time. They don't have the questions, and right now they're going to go into that game healthy. Probably get some guys back. So I think it's I would much rather be Ole Miss than Florida going into that game. And Florida's got to play LSU after this, you know what I mean? So it's like they got another game. So another game not to be healthy.
Yeah, if you say another game to maybe lose, another game also to get beat the hell up no matter what.
Yep.
Is this Bama LSU game about to get drunk?
It's going to be a close game, bro.
It has turned into. I mean, it looks like a normal Alabama LSU game right now.
You don't want to keep them around because keeping them around, weird things happen.
See Ole Miss fourth quarter.
Golly, what a holding call! If they don't call a hold there, I quit.
Miller 10 of 14 for 97 so far.
If they don't call a holding call, they did. I was like, holy smoke!
He grabbed him, jerked him, and threw him down.
I mean, probably got me. It was a bear hug double. That would be belly to belly suplex back in the day, right there. It looked like something that old Arn Anderson pulled off back in the day, right there.
What are you doing TB2 right now?
Brock Lesnar.
What say, Chase?
What are you making, Jeffrey?
I am making a twice baked right now, and then I'm getting ready to go. I'm getting ready to go light up the old rec tech. I'm not kidding you, man.
Cheating, Jeffrey.
It is. I didn't.
Cheating.
You didn't hear me. You didn't hear me defend it, but it makes an unbelievable steak. I'm not saying that it is cheating. I have
at least with my egg, I got to like move some knobs around and stuff. Like you got to.
That's not true. I have to push a button.
Okay, and then watch the app on your phone.
And I have to put the probe in. You got to be really careful about where you put the probe in that meat. Otherwise, you could wind up with, God forbid, medium rare instead of, rare.
Yeah, 130 instead of 128 on the final product.
That could be devastating.
Brian, give me. If y'all talked about this, then pardon me. I had to go say a few things, but kind of set me up for the scene there at the end. I mean, you told me a minute ago you think it was the best crowd of the Ole Miss game you've ever been to.
Yeah, I think so. I've been going to a bunch of those for a long time, and like the crowd, it was kind of the culmination. Like, I mean, I wrote about it earlier this year after the Georgia Southern game, where it's like, Lane talked about in his post-game press conference that night about how he's kind of built this thing with some style, and they made it to this whole production and a show. And tonight was, I think, really I would say the focal point of that. I mean, the whatever show they put on in the fourth quarter, I had to go take a piss during the latter half of that, but apparently it was delayed because of smoke. There was too much smoke in the air. I just assumed it was two kids vaping in front of the camera. I didn't really know what was going on, but there was a lot of smoke in there, and it was a hell of a show. They made it a production. That place, for the stadium that it is, was as loud as I've ever seen it in my lifetime. I was only like 9 years old or whenever it was with the LSU 2003 when Travis Johnson had the pick six early in that game. I always contended that was the loudest moment in the stadium's history. I would say at multiple points today that was probably louder. It was really remarkable, to be honest. The people that put on that show and that production and everything that's kind of associated with the Ole Miss program deserve a hat tip today. It was electric. I can't put it any other way.
And the squirrel on the field was not the only one. Y'all were dealing with one too?
Yeah, so I decided to sit with my parents for this game because if it had been raining, my wife would have been wanting to get out of there very quickly. And so I'm sitting in this box with my father, and there's a squirrel running in beneath our legs. And then Leanne Toohey said, "Hey, there's a squirrel beneath y'all." And I was like, "Well, what the fuck does that mean?" And there was a literal live animal below us. So there was a squirrel terrorizing the south end zone boxes. And then about 10 minutes later, there was a squirrel on the field. So I guess the squirrels have just had enough. I think they're declaring.
So how did you get the squirrel out of that area?
We don't know. It ran down the other way, and I saw an old guy with white hair take a stab at trying to grab the animal. And I don't know how well that worked out for him, but the squirrel did not come back. And, unless it has rabies, I mean, it's only a squirrel. You could probably take him. He's not killing anybody up there.
It was literally like the scene from Christmas Vacation.
Yes, that's exactly what it was. There was a bunch of people putting their legs up in the air being like, "Oh my God, what's going on?" I'm like, "Dude, it's a squirrel. It'll be all good."
I'm going in there with him.
Why do they keep I'm just curious, back-to-back weeks with the squirrel on the field, do you get pest control on that? How does that keep happening?
I'm convinced it's Lane saying that's how Lane's releasing squirrels rather than faking injuries.
It could be. He might walk to the stadium after the Walk of Champions and start dropping acorns. Are we still natural grass there? Like, are squirrels attracted to that? It's not turf, right? We're still natural grass down there.
They're back to grass.
Okay.
Did the field? Siski, what you saw, Brian? I mean, does the rushing like that screw up the field for 3 weeks from now?
No, bro. They'll have that thing replaced in 5 minutes if they want to.
Okay.
Yeah, they tore down both goalposts. I was walking to our
So
car.
one is next to the courthouse. Where is the other one?
I heard the other was at the library.
Okay.
Fitting.
Well, like logistically, how do you get that in there? The library door is not that wide.
Maybe they
Because
opened
of
up
the
the
window?
back, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
Or you can just put it in long ways.
So how much is the check
or
they
you
got
can
to
open
write
up
now?
the check's gonna be $500,000, right?
Is it $500,000 this time?
Well, they also had a false start. I gotta imagine that's gonna factor into it. They technically
You
rushed
can't,
the
yeah,
field while
I
the
don't think
game.
you get hit twice.
Yeah, but they rushed the field while the game was still going on.
Between rushing it twice and tearing down both goalposts, I gotta think they're gonna hit him twice. This might be a $500,000 issue.
Nah.
When's the last time they rushed?
LSU last year.
Okay, so yeah, I think it's a 250 this time. Because it reset a few years ago, and then it keeps adding on every time you do it. So I think they're going to be cutting the Georgia Bulldogs at 250.
Did they rush in practice in basketball?
I don't recall that. If so, I don't know who they would have beaten.
So
I don't know. Siski sits up high; he can see the whole court.
But during the last 2 minutes, they let fans onto the field behind those little tiny like metal temporary gates behind the Georgia sideline for the last 2 minutes. They let fans flood the field for the last 2 minutes of the game.
Yeah, we could see that on TV. Like that's going to be the real problem is that there was not a real resistance. In fact, there was here's where you enter the field. They set up ropes.
Yeah, they were like enticing it. And I don't know if you've ever touched one of those temporary gates. Those could be blown over with wind. I don't really know what resistance those offer. It's just kind of hurting the masses.
We stormed the court after the big Grambling win last night, so I attacked that one.
Did you go last night, Siski?
You damn right I did.
You really don't miss many.
I don't. I mean, I'm being serious. I don't miss many.
Was there a time last night when you thought they were going to lose?
I did text Neil at halftime and said you're about 10 minutes away writing a really fun article.
What happened? I know we're doing the football thing, but we're just kind of waiting on Neil at this point. So what the hell happened last night?
They get in these stretches where they don't move the ball well, and it looks like they're playing 1-on-5 on offense, and then Grambling shot the lights out, but Ole Miss, I think, shot – at one time I looked up, Ole Miss had shot 65 times, and Grambling had shot 30-something times. And then Grambling had a lot of turnovers, but it's just basketball, man. Basketball.
Yeah.
They did not do well, and then they got this thing where I'm assuming there are a bunch of new dudes that haven't played together, but there's people out there that can fair catch a three-pointer just wide-ass open, and nobody likes to throw it to them. So it's just a matter of court vision and distributing the rock.
Making shots.
Neil just posted another article into the stream here, so you got some links on that. I'm sure it's up at Rebel Grove, so I would assume that means he'll be joining us momentarily. It's not here yet, but he put that in the stream, so I'm assuming he'll be.
I need an ETA because I don't want to be lighting. I don't want to have to light my grill, and really monitor it while I miss the standing ovation.
Does it not fit four?
Oh, that's right.
Chase?
He said he's trying to find out who committed, so he's still writing.
Chase, does it not fit the 4 in the screen video?
Oh, yeah. Hold on. I can probably do that. We have to show off Ruby's artwork back there with the SEC logos.
Yeah, literally every podcast guest I have is like, what's that behind you? That's a very interesting painting. I'm like, yeah, we'll just run through it. So we got the old Colonel Reb and Confederate Gray Guard back there. I don't know. That guy painted me a thing and my wife framed it, is what it is.
All good. Jeffrey's asking which goalposts were taken down to the courthouse, the north or the south goalpost. So you're in good. You're fine.
I just
make sure you have Cole clip that next time, Siski.
No, sir. Not your boy. Not your boy.
Did you?
Not this week. Not this week.
Did you get back? Did you get back on TikTok?
Yeah, I just got shadow banned.
So are you non-shadow banned now? Did the algorithm come back?
No, I just had to get on there and get them to tap the like button until get us back up on the top of the food chain again. But yeah, we're okay. It's not.
That's all it took.
What it was, but it's getting closer. We're moving back on up.
So what happened?
They did not like for me to talk about the elections, and so
That was it.
pretty much, yeah. And then
So what happens on so TikTok doesn't have like election accounts?
Chase, you're asking me questions I don't know. I don't know, Bo. I
Well,
just
you're
know
the
that
TikTok star. I'm just curious.
no,
Oh,
I
it's
just
owned
know
by the
that
Chinese. Who knows what their algorithm
they don't.
is?
They did not like me talking about the election, and so I did not let people know that this episode is brought to you by the Biden-Harris administration, and so I didn't say that at the beginning. And usually when I say that, they let me stay up there. But yeah, they straight booted when I was on the show with AJ because I had it running while we were on the show with AJ, and AJ on Tuesday was wearing his Trump 2024 hat with his fight shirt on, and yeah, it was downhill from there. We just started going, it just started going straight down the old algorithm list, every word out of the mouth, and then Catherine brought his wife brought the Trump cutout behind his head. Straight to the back of the list, brother. So it'll be all right.
Okay.
I don't care.
I mean, you probably got frustrated there for a minute, didn't you?
No, not on Tuesday. I didn't. I was willing to take it. I was willing to take a loss on Tuesday.
So, did you have it up? Were you watching Michigan? Like, their coach just forgot to call timeout. What the hell happened?
I thought he got a first down. When I looked up, they got a first down inside 2 minutes. They had 50 seconds to go with 2 timeouts. I mean, technically he could have taken them all, but it didn't matter. Like you would have got the ball back with like 1 second, maybe.
So it really wasn't a big. It wasn't consequential.
I'll have to go back and watch, but when I saw it, they had 2 timeouts in the under 50 seconds. So I don't know why or what the problem is. I was on here getting Carly Ann getting me juiced.
Yeah, that is a good point. I mean, Ole Miss had a good night when we got a Georgia fan melting down on the stream. So
who's melting down?
He's all frustrated. Saying Ole Miss isn't going to get in the end. That I think laughing because Ole Miss rushed the field during a regular season game. Said Georgia didn't need the win. That's why they lost tonight. He's feeling himself. See, Jackpot.
Oh, that's my guy. We gotta leave. That's official Jackpot. He's from
Okay.
TikTok. He's good people. He's
Okay.
good people. He's good. He's all right. He's good people. He just it's just okay. My guy Jackpot. He's good people. Y'all leave my man Jackpot alone.
I
Come
mean,
get
I
you
was
guys,
walking
sister.
into the stadium today and witnessed a bunch of grown men in overalls barking at people in reverse. I mean, it was like evolution in reverse. I was like, shit, we've reverted back big time. These guys are sleeveless shirts just barking at other human beings. Like
He is
we do
short.
speak English.
He is
You
short.
can't really tell. You can't really tell because everybody wore red. How many Georgia people were here?
It was hard to tell, and it's harder for me because I am colorblind, so that didn't really help the old vision around the stadium. So I had no fucking idea what color everyone was wearing, to be completely honest, no clue. But I did ask my mother, and she was like, "I don't know. Why do we all wear red?" I was like, "I don't know what the color red is." So it looked like a lot of Georgia people for the most part, but I mean, it wasn't. Oklahoma was pretty crazy in the amount of away fans they brought. I don't think Georgia was to that level from what I observed, but again, to take that with a grain of salt because I'm looking at it in a world of gray here.
I will say, on television, the Oklahoma fans sounded louder than the Georgia fans.
Yeah, no,
Like,
absolutely.
There were times that
Oh!
Oklahoma was like, "Damn, is this a home game?"
Oh, that's
yeah,
a big
no,
point.
that's totally accurate. Like I bought season tickets for the first time this year in like section M or whatever it is on the away side, and our entire section that Oklahoma weekend was OU people. Literally everyone around us was OU people, and I did not get that feeling from the Georgia folks this week, despite them barking loudly at the entrance.
It certainly did not sound like that. I'll say that.
That is a Croatia hat, Rippy. What the hell are you wearing?
The Slavic Invitational. It is it's a golf tournament on the Gulf Coast that is a 400 team 2-man 4-ball that is unflighted, and it's basically celebrating Slavic heritage. They serve you roast beef all weekend. It's a wild tournament. The top 10 flights get to go to Fallen Oak on Sunday. Guess who did not sniff that? Us. But it's a fun time for the most part.
You needed Siskey, who hits it 350, 100 yards right every time. Like
I did need Siskey. Siskey, the first time we played golf, I told you we'd be hell on wheels in the scramble. We could figure it out.
I'm a scramble ringer if I can find the fairway.
Oh, you find us a scramble, we'll hustle some people for some money. Yeah. So this is the Slavic Invitational hat. I literally just picked it up on my desk.
There's an asterisk next to that. Is if I can find the fairway.
You know, I mean, a scramble, you got your freewheeling. I can get it out there in the fairway. You know, just nut one 210, and then you can just absolutely hammer one out there.
That's good shit.
Yeah, I've got people in the stream blocking jackpot at this point.
Siskey, I found the other question I wanted
leave
to
my
ask.
guy alone, man. Jackpot's good people. He's probably on the sauce a little bit.
In fairness, they didn't go and seek jackpot out.
That's a good point, Jeffrey.
He's good.
This wasn't like a bar stool when they found Brandon Walker. They went, "Hey, everybody, go get jackpot real quick, guys."
This is kind of like this is like the Russians getting into Ukraine. Can't believe they're not happy to see us. Like,
he's good.
Oh no, Rippy can swing a golf club. He's straight as hell.
Yeah,
he is not lying. He hits it absolutely nowhere, but he hits it very straight.
I mean, yeah, I'm about to say, you see my physical stature. What do you think? I'm going to pipe it out there 250? It's just not possible. But you get me in the fairway. We're the wedges. We're dialed in, buddy.
So score Alabama. They have run it in, going up now 21-6, pending the PAT.
They stopped LSU stopped Alabama on fourth down and then fumbled the very next play. Big turn of events here.
So do we know? I saw the Funky's video last night. Did Portnoy rate any other pizza places in town?
It looked like he went to St. Leo as well.
Okay.
We parked by where they were set up. I got to give them credit. That was a hell of a production they have going on. They have like signs out front, kind of like the PGA Tour players at the PGA Tour events, where it's like advertising their stars. It's like Big Cat, PFT, whoever else. That was pretty impressive. I didn't go to the show, but I was impressed by the production.
It looked like the crowd was pretty decent. I talked to a couple people in the press box who said they had walked around out there and it was all right.
What do you think Mike Bianco's thoughts for that just occurring out in left field-ish?
So where was it?
I watched it. It was in left field, but it's like in the area where like people park in left field. Like
it's that area you walk up to, like not in the actual seating, it's behind.
So it was like out by the oak tree, like out there in the parking lot?
Yeah, it was kind of like left center.
Okay. But it wasn't on the band practice field.
No, it was like down in that little hole. Like, so like you had fans, like they kind of like made an amphitheater with, like that floodplain.
It was pretty cool. I got to the Grove at 11:45, and that show didn't start till 12:30, and they had people lining up to try to go in there. Like, I got to give them credit. That was pretty awesome.
Seeing in the stream, people predicting Caleb Cunningham to switch to Ole Miss, which I have been. That's been a common rumor that keeps popping up.
What about Deuce Knight?
Not seeing it.
Siskey,
back to the Simmons thing real quick.
I found the other random question I wanted to ask you, not to bring it to a random innocuous Ole Miss point, but Jaden Kennedy, ever since they switched him from safety to that little slot corner position he's playing, they've seemingly been better. I just thought, in theory, corner's a harder position to play than safety. Why do you think they've been better because of that?
Well, he's just a better nickel than he is anything. That's his spot. That's what he is. He's not a corner. He's not a safety. He's a nickel. So, I mean, it fits his skill set. He does a good job at nickel.
But he's been playing a ton of matchup corner on number 2 wide receiver.
Yeah. Well, with injuries and stuff, I know, but that's not his forte. You know what I mean? He fits the run really well. He's physical. It cost him penalties sometimes because he likes to grab. But I like the kid. I think he's a good player.
What do you think?
I'm seeing that I'm getting called out for announcing anything other than the Boise score. I don't know the Boise score, but because of that, I assume that it's close. I've been it's been very obvious I'm cooking here.
What are you cooking?
I told you I'm making.
He said
steak.
he was doing twice baked potatoes.
Yeah, twice
I heard
potatoes
that,
and steak.
what's going with it? I heard you say the wreck thing, but like, what kind of steak are you cooking?
I went to Sam's today and did the 3-pack of Angus ribeyes, and I also had some scallops that I defrosted, and I'm gonna little surf and turf, if you will, in the right household.
Now, how
How
you
are you
make this?
doing the? How you doing the? Yeah, how you doing the scallops?
I'll do it. I'll crank. So after I reverse sear the steak, and so after I take the steak off, I crank it up to like 450, and I just like sear them on each side. There's no strategy with scallops other than just praying you don't overcook them.
They're excellent when done right, but God, that's the most finicky food in hell to cook.
Yep.
I mean,
And
it is impossible.
I crank the light on and make sure, like, I've gotten better at it, but when they're frozen scallops, it's a crapshoot no matter what.
Will they just turn rubbery if you overcook them?
Yes.
And
texture goes like, I mean, it goes like octopus texture in 5 seconds.
And the difference between rubbery and delightful is like 6 seconds sometimes.
Are you an octopus fan, Slisky?
Fuck no. Do I look like hell no? Like no.
Okay.
No. I mean, I don't do boneless chicken wings. I don't do pineapple on my pizza. I don't do squid. No. I don't like tampons.
Why is hold on a minute. Why the hell is squid in the same category as boneless wings?
Because it's all low. Like now, no longer. Hey, you will learn now that you're going to the men's clinic. It's a testosterone thing. It's a beta male, alpha male thing. You don't do this shit.
So to be clear,
why is squid in that category?
Because
Tyler, do you eat chicken nuggets?
I do eat chicken nuggets.
Okay, so you eat boneless wings. Congratulations.
Yeah.
No.
Go ahead.
No. I eat saucy nugs, and the only reason I eat saucy nugs is because. Have you ever looked for a ghost pepper or garlic parm? Or would you like to take your nug experience from a 10 to 11? Try Wendy's saucy nugs.
I love Wendy's.
You got that? You got that Prize Picks reader ready to go, Siski? I got to insert that dang thing at some point. So do you have it in front of you?
I haven't seen it. That one got snuck in on me on like Monday, and I didn't even know it was coming. So,
why did you get hung up on squid, Chase? I mean, I've never in my life been accused of being smart, but what's the difference between squid and octopus? Is that two different animals we have going here?
Yeah, like, I mean, calamari is squid, right?
I thought that was.
But then, like, if you get octopus, if you get octopus, if you get like octopus, like you usually get it like charred with the tentacles. Like it's excellent. Like I love me some charred octopus, like whatever. Yeah. No, 100%.
Oh, hey, I'm over here. I got the chat pulled up over here. I just opened it up, guys. It's a joke. Everybody, everybody relax. Just trying to bring a little light mood. Joking. It's yeah, you're good. I don't have no. I have had it. It's been a while though. Not a lot of octopus on the old menu for your boy though.
I'm anti chicken nugget. I think only kids and I think only kids should eat chicken nuggets. I think you have to graduate to the strip once you get past a certain thing. Kind of like eating like ketchup.
That's an absurd opinion. Chicken nuggets are available for all ages. You don't have to eat like the toy shaped ones, but like boneless wings, chicken nuggets of all ages is just great.
I don't agree. I mean, as Sissy said, if you're getting chicken wings, eat it with the damn bone in.
Yeah. It's not the fact that it's like if they called them chicken nuggets, I would respect.
I have to call you out on two things. One, I'm pretty sure octopus is a squid. I think squid is like the all-encompassing family. And then secondly,
I thought a squid had like a different size body and like it had like the tentacle, like the different whatever. Am I not right?
I think they're all in the same. I think they're in the same family. Also, that chicken nuggets take.
What?
We need a fact check. Fact check. We need an ABC fact check. Squid and octopus.
Somebody give me the difference in an octopus and a squid in the chat. Yes, this is where we're at. We're waiting on scoops.
Don't know, but they don't seem like they're the same thing to me because they have
all
legs and live in saltwater.
cephalopods Squid have distinct head, bilateral symmetry, and mantle. They are mainly soft-bodied like octopuses, but they have a small internal skeleton.
Yeah,
They're both.
Jeffrey
They're
was
both.
right. The
Yeah.
octopus is the round head. But how does that make
Correct.
the meat taste any different? What does that mean?
Well, I use prepared. Like most people, you're eating like, especially here. I mean, if you get calamari, you're eating like lightly fried, like squid. Like you don't. I'm not gonna eat fried octopus at most places. Because if you're eating octopus, you're normally gonna get it like just quickly charred or whatever because it's at a nicer restaurant.
I think you just proved that fine dining is a scam. We went to a wedding in Napa in August, and I had some Thai food that was awesome. And then we went to lunch, and my wife was like, "This is a Michelin star restaurant." I couldn't even fucking read the menu. I was like, "I've never heard of half of this shit on here," and it was terrible. I would have taken the
Did you get a
Thai
French
food
Laundry?
10 out of 10 times, but one of them had a Michelin star, so supposedly that's awesome.
Did you
Is
get a
that one
French
of those
Laundry?
restaurants that doesn't have the price on the menu?
Oh, none of them had the price. I just got absolutely beat over at the end of the table. I was like, "Oh, this is a $130 grilled cheese that you've never even heard of. Thanks. Like, thanks for coming." Didn't even order a beer. It was terrible.
I got stuck with
Um,
that was my favorite. I got stuck at the Paris casino at the Eiffel Tower restaurant in Vegas. I got hit with a $2,800 bill for a dinner for four. $2,800.
At least you knew what language they were speaking. I didn't even know what the hell this language this menu was.
Hold on. Even if you do the
$2,800.
tasting, how? So, did you let somebody else order the wine?
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't drink wine. I asked them for a Coors Light in Napa.
No,
and they
no,
looked
the
at me like I had a
$2,800
umbrella
meal.
out of my
How did
ass.
we do
Like,
that?
you
No,
hit-
no, because I know the restaurant you're talking about, the Jules Verne restaurant or whatever. Like,
Yeah, in downtown Sonoma or whatever. It's got it on the door.
no. I'm talking to Siski. So you went to French. You went to French Laundry, so you knew what you were getting into. You went to French Laundry in Napa. Like that's on you.
I had no idea what I was getting into.
Correct.
Like,
that's why I had to
I
stop
had
you.
no idea.
Correct.
I was like, holy shit! I thought it was a misprint. I was like, it was like, it was like a couple bottles of wine. The vodka tonics were like 110 a piece. Yeah, one of them.
Yeah. So you can't let the table order wine. If you're going to be the one paying, you got to order the wine on that situation.
Dinner for four, two couples.
I know, but you got to take over the wine ordering at that because that's exactly what happens. Is like you get a bottle of wine that you can get at Costco for you get the Kirkland Signature Chateauneuf de Pape for $475.
Well, Mama was ordering it, so I can't say shit anyway. You know what I mean? Like it is what it is.
Okay, so a couple things real quick. On football, because there are still a couple questions popping in. One, Jim asking about Ole Miss's chance for the SEC championship game. We looked up the tie-breaking situation earlier, and it would at this point it would require Georgia to be the 1 seed or something. Like it would take a ton of help the way I've got it stacked because whoever is the 1 seed in the SEC championship game is going to have a loss, and whoever beat them, as long as they have 2 losses, would move up into that spot. So it looks like Georgia is in best shape right now to get that spot, just based off what we're seeing right now. If they win out, and if Texas doesn't lay an egg as well, so if Texas wins out, Georgia wins out, I think they are in. And then somebody asking schematically or whatever you want to say, Siski, I guess I'll throw this one to you. Why the hell does the offense look better the last 10 quarters?
I think they're being a little bit more diverse in their passing game. To be honest with you, it's helping with protection. They're running. They're doing a lot of more 5-man protection and using the back and angle routes and shit like that, and throwing underneath. I think they're able to distribute the ball, kind of slowing down the rush. I think it's helped because it sure as hell isn't the running game. I can tell you that. So it's definitely has to be in the passing game. They're protecting the quarterback. I mean, however they're slow. They're able to slow the rush down. They've been sacked 3 times in 2 weeks and coached 39 times in 7 weeks. So,
I would also like to
the
add.
absence of Harris has required them to do that.
I mean, no, they've protected the quarterback. I mean,
I would add. I think Jackson's throwing on time much more. I thought earlier this year his timing was. I think he's been doing a better job at getting the ball out on time.
Again, I think that a lot of that, if it boils down to protection, right? So I mean, if he's got time to throw, he's going to be able to set his feet and get the ball out on time instead of going, oh, I got a second and a half. Let me chunk it to the dude that may catch the ball.
Is he going to be any healthier in 2 weeks? Or is this lingering the rest of the deal and you just keep doing what you did today?
He'll be all right.
Okay.
I don't even know what happened in game. He had a rolled up ankle, correct?
Yeah, he's got a low ankle. He'll be all right. Be all right.
Siski was a little. Siski didn't think he should have come back in. They thought he thought 13 should have kept balling
for one drive.
But what if he goes down and puts up 6 again?
Austin Simmons should stay in the game. Every person that I interacted with thought Austin Simmons should stay in.
Until no points go, until they don't end in a score, is what you're saying.
Yeah, man. I mean, like, look, man, 13's a dude now. I like that kid.
Hey, real quick, I meant to ask you this earlier. I think it's relevant to this conversation. I don't know what they were going to do beforehand or anyway, but I mean, how are you managing the quarterback position from a standpoint for next season? I mean, are you going to the portal to get a backup? I mean, are you just trying to compete, or like what are you doing if you're laying for quarterback for next year?
Well, you got to get some. I mean, Walker Howard's going to be there, right?
I mean, we don't know. I mean, maybe, but I mean, if he knows he's not the dude, does he try to leave again?
Walker Howard's going to be there, right?
Say he's not, for the hell of a conversation.
All right, let's say he's not, which he is, but let's say if he's not, I would if Walker Howard's going to be there, I'm going to go get a high school kid. If Walker Howard leaves, I'll probably go get a high school kid and a portal kid. And I wouldn't get a portal. You don't want to put pressure because Austin's got to be the guy. You got to roll with him. So you got to.
And you kind of have to like announce that and let it be a thing, right?
Yeah, you got to because when you recruit the kid, they got to know like they'll come and compete, but you want to get a lower level guy that wants a paycheck, wants a chance to compete, which is essentially the kid that's at Florida. Not the answer, but it's almost you're going to get a emergency guy. Does that make sense? Like you're probably going to next season with Simmons and then Howard and then a 3. But that would either be a high school kid or I would go, like the kid that's playing at Florida right now. But that kid was at like Yale or some shit last year. I don't know where he's at. He was somewhere else.
Yale.
Yale, is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, so you got to go do something like that. But if I'm building a roster,
he is a third-generation Gator, as we were reminded.
Gotcha. Hey, by the way, they just showed the highlight of Lane walking off the field on SEC Network. I laughed. The hardest I laughed the entire show was watching Lane get touched by all the fans. It made him so uncomfortable.
Not a hugger.
Not a hugger. Not a touch. Like I used to just to piss him off, I'd like give him the old bro hug, and it just make him just so uncomfortable. Him and Nick and Scoops, they're not a big bro hug guys. You know what I mean? Like they don't like touch.
There's an incredible video from the season in 2021 of Plumlee trying to give Kiffin a hug at practice before the bowl game, and Kiffin just visibly tenses up. Like I thought he was having a heart attack. It was pretty rough.
I don't remember. Like it was one of the early decent like big wins. There's one too of when Keith comes on the field and does it after a game, and you can see in the picture that he's like, "Oh God, oh God, oh God, oh God." Alexander's got a good point here. What the heck happened with Auburn's plane situation last night? Were they fighting on the damn plane?
Yes, they were.
So
all the Auburn media told me that was being overplayed and they were just being a little loud, and the pilot was being uncontrolled. Was being the guy off Tommy Boy, not Billy Madison that's driving the bus. Like it's all the pilot's fault.
Look, there's a few people on the beat that you cover, okay? And there's a few people on that beat that would be like a fucking anchor man of Pollyanna fucking coverage now. You know what I mean? Like I'm talking about like they're in a fucking duel with like, just sucking off the team that they cover instead of doing like the real freaking sport.
That is so true though. Like the On3 guy there, if Hugh Freeze shot someone, that guy would write a column about how the dude shouldn't have been fucking standing there. If you actually, I'm big into aviation TikTok. If you listened to I guess
Yeah.
what's it called when they were air traffic control recording of the plane ride, the pilot's like, we have a bunch of dudes punching each other. We need to land immediately. Like it didn't sound like any sort of kerfuffle. It sounded like a major issue.
Dog, look, I'm going to be Dr. Common Sense here. You don't leave two fucking you're going on the fucking road to play Houston. You don't turn the fucking plane around and then leave two fucking forwards at the house because they were fucking horse playing when you're going to play fucking Houston.
Hold on, he left players at home? I didn't know that.
No, the two guys, he left them at home when they came. Like he flew they left them
because the plane comes back, he dropped them off, and then went to Houston.
Wild.
Yeah, like so. Don't tell me like it's not. You're not going to play Texas Southern. You're going to play fucking Houston. You're all bodies on the boat. Everybody, let's go. Everybody, anybody that can put the ball in the hoop is on the plane. No,
and to Siski's point, the whole verbiage of horseplay is ridiculous. If you cause an emergency landing on an American flight, it's probably beyond horseplay. I would say that was a step beyond horseplay. If you cause a plane to land unexpectedly, that's probably not just dudes horsing around.
Yeah, and then basketball teams fly.
But weren't they flying? They were flying charter, correct?
It was a small plane. It was not.
So, the captain still has control of the plane, but at the same time, it's like if Bruce Pearl goes, please don't do this. There's going to be some consideration because they're getting paid.
Yeah. No,
the plane Auburn chartered for the trip to Houston was sent back to AUO while in the air tonight. The reason for this has been described here as a fight, but I don't get that feeling after having spoken to some folks who know what's up. I think it's more about guys getting rowdy and the pilots just really weren't feeling it. They're rearranging the plane, blah, 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 details. That's the truth as best I can tell. Auburn plays at Houston on Saturday night.
Gaslighting at 100. It doesn't. That's a textbook level of gaslighting.
I mean, guys. I mean, fuck. I mean, what are we doing?
Little locker room. Just some locker room antics, you know.
For the record, somebody asked me. I've never even heard of that happening. I've never been in a situation where guys were fighting on the plane. Now we've had somebody like, we've had like the closest ever was like we'd lose a game or something, and then one of the young dudes would be chirping or having a good time, and one of the older guys would tell him, "Shut the fuck up, or I'm going to rearrange your face." And it kind of ended right there. But like, it's a small plane. I mean, these basketball teams, they don't fly the big charter planes; they fly the small planes,
the
right?
little ones.
So usually they
Jeffrey,
fly.
I think Neil's coming.
Let's go, Scoops.
He's not here yet, but I think he's coming in a minute.
Hey, remember what we got to do when he gets here, right?
Yeah, that's why Chase was giving me the heads up.
Yeah. All right, Rippy, when Scoops comes in here, we all got to stand up and give him a standing ovation, like you did in the press conference with two of them today.
Okay, I think I make that happen. What, standing ovation for what?
Just the same standing ovation.
Explain a second.
When you walk into the press conference.
All right, I'm just gonna do what I'm told.
Just give him a standing ovation. I'm gonna get my camera up here so I can stand it up.
He was asking me about getting on a second ago, so I would assume he's getting close.
The fuck we doing, Scoops?
He's been working. There's like all kind of content coming in the stream here.
Is he still at the stadium?
Oh yeah, I'm sure. Like I said, we probably won't be a long time with him tonight. I think he's ready to get the hell out of here. He's been writing his ass off. Nico's out for Tennessee. What happened?
I didn't see it, Bubba.
He's hurt. Out for the game.
I did not see it.
As someone who's got 24 and a half and got murdered this morning, that's great news.
Oh, yeah, you took State in the points.
Hey, Jeffrey, I said earlier this week, and it wasn't on the show, I said on one of the lives, I said if there's ever a week to just not bet, it was this week because there were so many one-score road favorites. And I was like, dude, it's not going to be good.
And then it was like a bunch of the other like games that were possibilities and were like, you had real blowout potentials. And it's like, oh God.
So hey, how about whoever, just with Van Buren, like he's shown some potential, like with a program like Mississippi State, you have to assume there's probably a dozen or more schools pre-portaling him already.
A dozen?
Fair. That's right. It could probably be low. But like, is that like a guy like that without knowing his situation? What would you say the odds are he's at Mississippi State next year? I guess would be my point or question.
I would think the odds will be good. I mean, you're not going to let that guy walk. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Whatever. Now you may lose somebody else, but you're not going to let him.
And as Siskey pointed out the other day, if this house settlement does go through like they think, everybody's going to pay the quarterback.
Yeah, if you get a house settlement, you won't lose. I would be surprised if you lose Power 5 schools lose quarterbacks anymore.
So I read Ross's article the other day. Is that an if or is that a certainty? I can't really figure out if that's an if or they're going to kick the can down the road further. Like my gut says it's a certainty and it'll be in by 2025. But what read do y'all get? Because I get confused by all that shit sometimes, to be honest.
Say that first part again.
Like the house settlement, is that like a guarantee that's getting voted and settled in, or are they going to kick the can down the road further? Like, is it a guarantee?
It's not a guarantee, but it has moved a long way.
I guess what I'd say is
go ring your cowbell, Jeffrey.
Which game? Okay. I guess the way I would answer that is I don't get the sense that it's a certainty, but I do get the sense that it's the minimum. Rocco, get your ass down.
The thing about it is they're still running a risk of like the fairness hearing,
right?
Correct.
Messing
but at the same
up
time,
because you can't rule out future suits, which is supposed to be part of the settlement.
That's the part I didn't understand. Is controlling.
But athletic
the
departments are planning for the possibility of it going live in April.
They are. I would be personally shocked if there's not revenue sharing starting this next year.
Like in some form, even if it kind of gets okay, that makes sense.
I got a good feeling. I know what the number is. Like I feel really confident about the number.
20 to 25 ish.
I'm going to say it's going to be 23, and then with the big boys, Big 10, SEC, and then with 75 going football, 15, and all down 5-5.
And that doesn't count the $4 million or so that are Austin payments. That's going to be on top of the whatever the number is.
Yeah, that's
in addition.
Top. Yeah.
So, touchdown Bulldogs, PAT cutting that to.
Let's go, Jeffrey. Double.
I'm seeing here from somebody who would know that it's probably not going live until July.
Yeah, July 1, right?
So, yeah, it's what I'm getting here.
Yeah, I know you. I know. Just July. Ask them if they're listening. July 1, right? I think that's the date I got.
That was the follow up text. Yes.
Okay, July 1. 75-15, 75-15, 5-5. Is that the right mix? The person that's listening.
That is the normal mix for most schools, unless they have some weird school difference where they do something with some sport that's different. Yes. Yeah. Trey, thanks for the huge super chat. Appreciate you listening to the game while working here in West Texas on an oil rig. Enjoy the show daily. Hashtag drill baby drill there from our boy Trey.
Hey, while we're waiting on Scoops, can I say a couple things? One, I didn't even let you say yes, so I'm just going to go one. My mom just texted me. How about this? Bobby Allison passed away at age 86 today.
Really?
Yeah. Legend in the great state of Alabama there, Jeffrey.
Yeah.
Part of the Alabama game.
Is that a former coach?
No, that would be a NASCAR driver. Legendary.
Oh, the Allison.
All right, here's Neil. Hold on.
Let's go, Scoops.
We hear Lane got one of those. So we'll make sure you got one too. Little applause for you here tonight.
We just want to thank you for all you do.
I've ever been too tall to be in camera shot. That was a nice feeling.
Can you not hear us, Neil?
Oh yeah, I hear you. I'm sorry.
Scoops,
okay, you're fine.
Yeah, we just want to thank you for all you do.
We're bringing Scoops on the video.
Yeah, I'm going to try to make room for him here in a second. Hold on, I'm going to play with it.
You can take me off. I got to see my man Scoops.
All right, we'll swap you out. Neil, I guess take me from end of game, the 16 seconds, that weird thing, into the actual field storming. Did you already go under by then? And then just take me through Lane a little bit.
I'm sorry. Repeat that again. I realized why I couldn't hear.
Okay. I said, I guess just take me through the field storming. Were you already underneath by then, either the 16 or the one after the game? And then take me through Lane. We were giving you a standing ovation because we hear Lane got one of those as well here tonight in the press
Oh,
conference.
yeah. Yes, the oddest post game press conference. Only Ole Miss does this. I mean, it after wins, boosters come in for post game and they clap, and then there's this one guy that always goes, "Thank you" to whoever leaves, and it always cracks me up. Like the guy finishes, and he'll like say, "Thank you, Jackson," or "Thank you, Princely," or whatever, and it cracks me up every time. No, I stayed on the field because I was trying to get video. I put a 2-minute video on top of my column of the post game, so I saw. But I moved over to the side because I realized where I was standing originally, I was going to get run over, and I had my computer with me, and that was going to really piss me off. And so I shifted over to the side and was able to film at that point. And then I went into the team meeting room, which is where we do all the post game stuff, and finished my column. And Lane came in, and what was the rest of the question? What was his mood, or what?
Yeah, just take me through kind of what he said. I mean, we saw some of the quotes. I mean, it looked like he was kind of emotional there, at least in some of the interviews he did.
Yeah, he wasn't emotional with us. Apparently, he kind of got almost a little emotional on the field, I guess. What someone said with talking to Molly McGrath, but I didn't see that with us. He was okay. I mean, he was happy. I mean, he obviously talked about how it was, a lot of work went into this. There was, we talked about what happened to Jackson early, and he admitted that at one point he didn't think he was coming back. I don't think that was a thought that he had for long, because I think even before that drive was over, Jackson was back on the field telling him he could go. I mean, he talked about how this team's had its back against the wall since the LSU game. He referred to that game as a screw up again. And then he said that, I guess he was kind of asked if he thought this team had kind of found its identity, which is what I've told you guys. I think I've said it on the podcast too, but I know I've said it privately to some people. I think this is one of those teams that had to lose a little bit before it could win. I think this team had to have its bubble popped a little. I think they needed. And now actually I kind of feel sort of smart about this. One of the storylines that I thought was going to be interesting coming into the season was, I mean, I've covered Ole Miss for a long time, longer than I ever dreamt I would. And they've always consistently gotten a lot of mileage out of nobody believes in us. Everyone's counted us out. And in the preseason, you really couldn't say that. That would be total bullshit. Everyone counted them in. Everyone said they were going to the playoff. They were a lock for the playoff. They were a semifinal team, blah, blah, blah. I mean, most people picked them to either go to Atlanta or almost go to Atlanta. So they couldn't get any mileage out of that. And they lost to Kentucky. And so a little bit of people counted them out. And then when they lost to LSU, a lot of people counted them out. And then they were able to use that as fuel. They needed that fuel. I think they had an engine that had to have that fuel to operate at max capacity. And I don't even know that they would argue that at this point. They kind of rallied within. They were able to use some outside noise as motivation. And now they've played 2.5 really good football games since halftime of the Oklahoma game. They were dominant in the second half against Oklahoma. They were dominant against Arkansas. And frankly, they were dominant against Georgia today. Defensively, Arkansas had a hell of a lot more success against Ole Miss's defense than Georgia did. Georgia got a touchdown on a 21-yard field and then got a field goal. That was it. And they had a couple of drives where Ole Miss made stops and
turnovers.
So I just think this team has kind of found its identity, and I think it needed a little bit of the underdog thing to maximize it. I really do.
10-2 and winning out. We were talking about here. See if you agree. I mean, obviously you don't lose those, and what you just said, say they did need everything and all the fuel You're better off with a win over Georgia and losing a weird game against Kentucky than you are losing to Georgia and LSU and not having a damn decent win on the schedule, right? As far
Yes.
as getting in.
Yes, 100%. I mean, I've heard some people around the league today talking about how if you're Texas, you get a little nervous if you lose to Texas A&M at the end and you go 10-2, and your best win is like what? Like at Arkansas or Florida or something. You get a little antsy because if you're Alabama today, you're going to have a win over Georgia. You're going to have a win over LSU on the road. At 10-2, Bama's getting in. If Tennessee goes 10-2, and frankly, I think Tennessee could beat Georgia from what I watched today. I mean, I told you,
Nico's hurt,
Chase.
by the way.
Oh, is he okay? I've seen nothing today.
Yeah, Nico's banged up right now.
Okay, but I mean, I don't. I told you this earlier today. It's not a fun, sexy storyline for podcasting, but these things kind of work themselves out. And this thing is probably going to work itself out too. You know what I mean? I mean, there's still some games left, and some teams that everybody thinks are going to win aren't, and this thing will work itself out, and the teams that probably have a real strong case to be in the playoff will be in it, and those that don't probably won't.
I know I'm just asking the question, even though I know it's a no, but I mean, I know Pegues got a little pinch there just from your eyes or anything you heard or saw injury situation after tonight.
No, I mean, I think the worst injury today was Jackson Dart, who was struggling to walk after it was over. It's the same ankle, I think, that he hurt last year, so I think it's the same kind of injury, so it's probably going to limit him in the same sort of way moving forward as he did last year. But, I mean, I wrote a story about him a little while ago. It's up. There's quite a bit of content up at rebelgrove.com, by the way. I've got a column and a notebook and a story on Jackson Dart, some Georgia stuff, Lane Kiffin. I'll add more.
Yeah.
I'll add more later. So, I mean, he's probably the worst. Pegues returned to the game, so it wasn't that serious. And multiple people, Kiffin, Jackson Dart, maybe Princely, I can't remember who. I don't know who it was. Still referencing Trey Harris coming back. I mean, I don't know how realistic that is or isn't right now, but obviously they don't play for a couple of weeks, and they didn't need Trey Harris to beat Georgia or Arkansas or Oklahoma, so I don't think they'll need him to beat Mississippi State or Florida. And if that's the case, they're going to get at least until December the 20th before they play a game. So there does seem to be some optimism that he'll return at some point. It's a growing injury. You have to wait, and those things heal on their own when they're ready, and you can't rush them. If you try to rush them, you'll set them back. So he obviously isn't ready to go, and both last week and apparently this week, according to I think you or somebody else said it, he dressed today for the first half and then changed at halftime back into like sweats or whatever. That's what he did in Fayetteville too.
A couple quick hit things, and I know you're ready out of here, and kind of we are too. Which we're taking a poll. Would you have put Simmons back in for that next drive?
No. Period. No, absolutely not. Jackson Dart's one of the biggest reasons you're here right now. He says he can play. You let him play. He came back for this. He helped recruit this team. He's the leader of this team. He went through all that silly Spencer Sanders stuff. He went through, frankly, the silly Luke Altmaier stuff. He's been a good soldier. He took a lot of heat for what happened at the end of 2022. And, I mean, yeah, he was responsible for some of it, but not as much as he got. No, he's your guy. He tells you he can play. I mean, even if he's carrying his severed leg out there with him, you let him play. I mean, he's earned that right. I mean, it's the whole you dance with the girl that brought you. And he's most certainly the girl that brought you. And you dance with him as long as he can dance. Now, I mean, if I'm Austin Simmons, I told you this. I mean, I'm cool with Jackson Dart going back in because he's the guy. But I'm like, hey, you saw what I can do. You guys go add some high profile quarterback in the portal, and I'm peace out. If I'm him, I don't play those games. I think he said today emphatically that he's their quarterback next season. But absolutely no. The do you bring him? Do you go? No, absolutely not. No, 0, 100 to 0. If anybody differed on that, I'd no.
Did we figure out whatever recruiting situation was going on?
I mean, there's rumblings that it's Caleb Cunningham, but I think that's just because a couple of people have done flip things. Someone in the building said flip. I don't know who that is. I mean, there were other people here who were committed to other places. One of the people did the googly eye thing. I don't know. I told you last week. I know this is. It is my anticipation that whenever signing day is, December the 5th or 6th or whatever that is, that Caleb Cunningham will sign with Ole Miss. I don't know when he's going to flip or when he's going to announce it or if he's going to have a ceremony or jump out of a plane or have an Instagram video. I don't know, but I anticipate that he will sign with Ole Miss.
Yeah. Got a week off. That's good for Ole Miss. I'm assuming last kind of thing with you. I mean, Siski mentioned they get a chance to kind of flush this a little bit now. You don't want to have to come back in 7 days. I mean, they get a minute to take a break, get a little healthier, and that having a win of this magnitude won't be as fresh. You can reset a little bit. Probably a pretty good damn schedule when you look at it in that way.
Well, like they did what we talked about they had to do when they lost to Kentucky. We talked about how they erased a lot of their margin for error, and we said when they lost to LSU that they would have to win out, and they're going to win out. And I think they figured out who they are. They are an elite defensive team. They held Georgia to 245 yards.
Mm-hmm.
They completely stifled Georgia's running game. They sacked Carson Beck 5 times. They harassed him countless other times. They caused turnovers. Offensively, they are spreading the football around. I mean, I don't have the stats in front of me, but they completed passes to people when they needed to. Jordan Watkins was big again today. They got Juice Wells with a huge touchdown catch. That was a big-time play, big-time throw and catch. They've gotten better up front on their offensive line. A few weeks ago, they sucked up front in pass protection. They did. There's no way around it. Well, they don't suck anymore. That's 3 games in a row up front against Oklahoma and Arkansas and now Georgia, where they've protected the quarterback really well. I know Georgia got to Jackson the first couple of plays, and that led to the injury. But, guys, again, I've seen some people almost kind of writing Georgia off, and it's fine. It's what we do in this business. But they haven't lost to – before tonight, they've not lost to a team not named Alabama since the COVID silliness. It was 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Carson was in the 8th grade.
51 straight non-Alabama wins.
Dan Mullen, last head coach to win.
I mean, yeah, shit. I mean, that's a dominant program over there. I mean, that is the standard bearer in this league over the last several years, and maybe the standard bearer in the country over the last several years. And Ole Miss just demolished them. I mean, Kirby Smart's not. He doesn't. His teams don't get their ass kicked very often. I mean, that was a pretty big. That was a pretty big deal today. It's a big statement. Listen, I don't know what else has happened around the country. I've been in this stadium covering this game for what feels like 3 days. But, I mean, Ole Miss is a title contender. It doesn't mean they'll win the title. 12 teams are going to make that tournament, and 11 are going to finish with a loss. And Ole Miss could very well end up being one of the 11. But if you told me Ole Miss was the one of the one, I'd buy that too. They're that good. They have figured out who they are. They're playing to their identity, and they're dangerous. When you're that good on defense, when you're that destructive up front, when you have kind of the cornerback play that they're getting, you're a problem. And Ole Miss is a problem for teams right now. You can see that. I mean, I know Oklahoma's not good, but Oklahoma was desperate that day and had a lead at the half, and Ole Miss came back and just whacked them. I know that Arkansas is not a great team, but they're not awful. They're not an awful team, and Ole Miss just destroyed them. And Georgia's Georgia, and I know we do the thing about Georgia's, they did this or they did that or whatever, and yeah, but Georgia wins. They win, and they've got 4- and 5-star players all over that roster over there. You watch them come through in warm-ups, and they look the part. I mean, that's a legitimate monster of a program. And Ole Miss whacked them today in a unique atmosphere, and there was no intimidation, there was no fear. I mean, I think Ole Miss is dangerous in a postseason setting. They'll beat Florida, they'll beat Mississippi State, and I don't have it in front of me. I don't think there's any way they get to Atlanta. Is that right?
It doesn't look like it. If Georgia wins out and Texas wins out, it's those two. It looks like
Okay.
best we can tell.
Well,
It's really convoluted, but that's a guess.
And if I'm Ole Miss, I might be cool with that. So they'll play somewhere December the 20th or December the 21st, and I wouldn't. If I'm another team, I don't want to draw Ole Miss.
Yeah, that's a emphatic closing statement from Neil there. I know you've been on the call for a lot of hours now, so let you get out of here, and we'll appreciate Jeffrey and Siski and Brian for their time as well here on tonight's postgame show, giving us a ton of time and capping off what was a hell of a day for Ole Miss. Again, 28-10, the Rebels over the Georgia Bulldogs to move to 8-2 on the season and get most likely 2 wins away from the college football playoff. That's a week off, and that is a trip to Florida prior to the Egg Bowl at home Black Friday against Mississippi State. Again, Georgia rushes for only 1.8 per carry. Ole Miss sacks Georgia 5 times. It was an emphatic showing and an emphatic victory there for the Ole Miss Rebels. Tons of coverage up at rebelgrove.com already, courtesy of Neil, and more coming tonight and tomorrow also. So if you're listening to this in podcast form, safe travels. Hope you got back safely from the stream. Obviously, take care of yourself tonight. We'll have a full week at MPW Digital and rebelgrove.com for what's coming up ahead as well. So take care. Thanks to all you, the super chats, the legends you guys are. Always appreciate everybody listening, following, and streaming along with us. And we will talk to you again very soon.